Okay, good evening. Today is Monday, January 12th. It is 7:02 p.m. We're having a regular meeting of the Town Council. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Michael Del Santo.
Present.
Christine Gaida.
Here.
James Morelli. Tony Morrison.
Here.
Christopher Palmieri.
Here.
Joshua Serafino.
Here.
David Zoni.
Here.
Jennifer Klock.
Here.
Paul Chaplinsky.
Here, we have all 9 members. In case you couldn't hear the audio, Councilman Morelli is present. He is dialing in remote today. If I can remind everybody to talk into their microphones, we continue to receive feedback from the public that it's difficult to hear both when the video is live streaming and also when people go back to review the meeting minutes. So if we can make a diligent effort to speak into the microphone when we're speaking and speak loudly, I would appreciate it. If we can all please stand for the prayer and the flag salute, I'd appreciate it.
Heavenly Father, may we consider the people of Southington and always render what is right and just for our citizens. Help us to be compassionate and caring for each individual while still seeking what is appropriate for the entire community. Give us wisdom and guidance. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we're going to have Gianna and Colton who are going to start us with the Pledge of Allegiance today. Thank you, Gianna and Colton. Gianna and Colton, nice job. That was very loud. Thank you. I'm sure the people who were watching this on the TV were able to hear that, so thank you. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular Town Council meeting, December 8th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Can I make a change? My name is misspelled.
Yes.
That's
So can you retract your motion, Dave, so we could just get this?
I'll make a motion with the change.
Okay, why don't you state the change in your motion?
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion to approve with the change of spelling on Kristen's name.
I'll second.
And it's a E-N, Kristen?
Correct, yes.
So it's Kristen in the first page. We have a motion and a second from Mr. Del Santo. Any other further discussion on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Just some housekeeping before we go to councilperson communications and we do the presentation to get our agenda squared away. I'd like to do a few, we have some additions to make and some changes. The first thing I'd like to make a request is we have Christopher Robertson in the back. And I think he's going to be appointed tonight. So instead of making Christopher wait until the very end, would everybody be amenable to moving item 9B4, the 2 constables? Can we move those appointments up to right now?
I'll make a motion to rearrange the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion from Chris and a second from Mike. All in favor to move that up to the next item?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Okay. No Jim, I'm assuming you're good with it, right? I'm sorry. I was a little quick to call the opposed.
Yes, I'm all set. Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. Now I'm looking for the town manager to appoint 2 constables.
Mr. Chairman, I've been given the name of Christopher Robertson and Peter Karz, K-A-R-Z-C. They are hereby appointed.
Thank you. Congratulations, Peter and Chris. Thank you so much for coming, and we know you guys are going to do a great job. Okay, a few other housekeeping. Chris, we want to add, I'm looking for a motion to add under old business, item M, an update to our policies and procedure to include 2 town staff members who are ex officio to our Apple Harvest Committee.
Yes, now, wouldn't that be old business item I?
Yeah, aye. Because it goes H-I.
No.
We have page 2, we have J, K, and L.
On the first page, we have old business, and then it's,
Yeah, you might want to grab, the email came out last week to make sure you printed new ones because there's some additional items on here.
So moved, we'll add it to item M.
Okay.
Second.
Alex, you want to grab a few of those extra agendas? Just, oh, they're the old ones, okay. Okay. All right, take a look, if you guys want, just take a look at your computers, your digital files.
And then, Paul, can I also make?
Hold on one second, did we all vote on that yet? I don't think so. So can we just, we have a motion from who?
From Chris?
Chris,
And I second.
and Mike seconded it. On that item, Chris, can we call the roll?
Yes, we need to react to that as well. So first, if we can approve this.
Exactly. So all in favor to add item M under new business, policy and procedure update, to include 2 new ex officio staff members to the Apple Harvest Committee. All in
No, not
favor?
ex officio. They're not going to be ex officio.
Oh, they're going to be voting members.
Voting members.
Sorry about that. So they are voting members.
Yes.
Okay. There are 2 additional town staff voting members. All in favor to add that agenda item?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so we have item number M, as in Mary, under old business. We'll get to that later in the meeting.
So Paul, if I'm
Go for it.
correct, then that would be to change the policy and procedure. And then if we can also make a motion to add under new business B5, Apple Harvest Festival Committee appointments, to actually put the members on there, their staff members.
Actually, exactly. So now we have appointments, 2 new staff members for the Apple Harvest Committee. B, correct. New business, B5.
Correct.
Second.
We have a motion from Chris and a second from Mike. Any discussion to add those appointments? Okay, all in favor to add the appointments of new business B5? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and there's 2 more housekeeping on the agendas. Because of a lot of movement last week, and I didn't want to send a revision out again on the agenda, I'm looking for a motion under B appointments, Housing Authority, to change 1 member to 2. I'm looking for a motion for that. Okay.
Second.
So we have Jen and a second from Tony to change the appointments from 1 member to 2 for Housing Authority. Any discussion? All in favor to add that, or to change that? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then the last agenda item, we had a housekeeping issue on the Seed Committee. We had Bill Dietzich as the town council representative from Seed, and so we're going to put Josh in place of Bill, since Bill is not a town councilor anymore. Bill sent his resignation in today. So we have 3 current members today that we were going to appoint to Seed, and I think, Chris, those were yours today. So I'd like to ask for a motion to make the 3 members 4 members so that we can replace Bill Dietzich.
So moved.
Second.
Mike and Tony. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor to add, or to change Seed Committee from 3 to 4 members later on?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay.
Actually, one more.
One more, let's do it. Hey,
Motion to adjourn. No. We should have a meeting.
I believe we received the resignation of Katie Wade as the alternate on the Conservation Commission, and that's not on here either.
Okay.
So can we add that?
when did we get that, Chris? Who got that?
She's out in the audience, so we can ask her.
Okay. Was it recently? Okay. Who did you send it to, Katie?
I sent it to, can't think of his name, the chair of the committee, and,
Okay, do us a favor. You just got to email the town manager and the town clerk, if you don't mind. Maybe forward that email to the town manager and the town clerk. And that was for which seat?
That is for an alternate on the Conservation Commission. So if I could make a motion to add to the agenda under new business item B6.
6.
Alternate Conservation Commission appointment.
Second.
We have a motion from Chris and a second from Mike to add action under new business B6, Conservation Commission alternate appointment, which will be to replace Katie Wade, who is forwarding the resignation that she's already sent in. Sounds good. Thank you. Okay. Any other housekeeping before we move into councilperson communication A? There's a lot there. Okay. We're going to now move into item A, presentation by Sober Southington, Mr. Shane Shackelford, which now we have the laptop that went to sleep, so we might need staff's help to wake it up. You might need a password, Shane. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so just to tee it up a little bit, and yeah, get that mic
Hello?
going, Shane.
Yep.
So just everybody, just so everybody's up to speed, I'm sure a lot of you have seen a lot of the great work that Shane and the Sober Southington team are doing, really led by Shane here in Southington. I met Shane at the Red Ribbon Rally. It was October-ish, I think, October timeframe.
Yep.
And I know a few of the council members were there. And we got to talking a little bit. And we were talking a little bit about Sober Southington and got to know Shane a little bit, got to meet his son, and really excited to have Shane here because we'd like to take the opportunity to promote a little bit this organization and what they're doing. And I think we're going to see Sober Southington continue to gain traction, at least I hope, here in Southington with a lot of different activities. And Shane's going to be here to tell us a little bit about that tonight. So we're going to turn it over to Shane. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. And thank you for putting together the presentation. For those who are watching the meeting and you can't see the presentation from home, this presentation will be included in our meeting minutes. So you will see the whole presentation in our meeting minutes online once the meeting minutes are posted later this week. Turn it over to you, Shane.
Well, first I'd like to say thank you for having me, letting Sober Southington showcase a little bit. It's nice. And I'd also like to introduce myself. My name is Shane Shackelford. I'm 43 years old. I'm a dad. Hi, Gunnar. I'm also a husband. That's my wife, Sarah. And I've lived in Southington for about 2.5 years now. And I'm also sober. So my sobriety date is August 1st, the same date as Sober Southington was created. And what they don't tell you in sobriety is that once you get on that sober bus, you kind of drive into this field, and the field is just kind of vast. They drop you off, and there's nobody around, and it can get cold, and it can get lonely. You bring certain tools with you to kind of get through the night, but there's no map. There's no real navigation. And what Sober Southington offers is a little light at the end of that field, a place to call home. So Sober Southington was created by my wife and I on my sobriety date. And when you say Sober Southington like that, it's almost like it's in lights, like it's almost like it's a dream, but it's here and it's relevant and it's gaining traction. Like Paul said, we have 512 members to date and 20 plus events in this community and neighboring communities so far. Who our target audience is people in recovery. Pardon me. I'll scroll down here.
And just so you,
maybe I have to
just to
wing
let
it.
you know while you're doing that, we do, maybe you have to hit cancel. There you go.
See, okay.
The folks who are online can see the presentation.
Oh,
so-
nice. Okay. Welcome, people online. Glad that you could see this because my wife worked very hard on this. Thank you as well. So people in recovery, sober curious, and also the sober. So the people in recovery and the sober curious are the ones that are kind of watching from the background. So we like to give them as much content as we possibly can, as far as videos and as far as event postings and, support actually, people that are reaching out that are new to the sobriety journey or have been sober for 15 plus years. But the sober are the ones that show up for the events. They've given their time and their efforts, and they're the ones that are the base of what Sober Southington will progress us forward. As far as the foundation goes, I've mapped it out for myself. When I became sober, this is kind of what I needed on my journey, just so I wouldn't fall back into old habits. And that's possible when you don't have your old friends or the place that you used to go to. So I mapped it out this way. So it's connection and accountability, self-care, volunteer work and community, and play. Play is my favorite. And that's because life's worth living outside the four walls of, you know, AA or Al-Anon. Life's still worth it, and I wanted to make it fun. We're gonna kind of go through all these with pictures, but, you know, connection and accountability, self-care, volunteer work, and community, and play. We've had events entailing all of these 4 things. So we're gonna go into connection and accountability. Chatty hours every Thursday. So we do this in Meriden. This is a place called Grace's Place. That is a sober cafe and bar. We unfortunately don't have one here in Southington, but hopefully we can get to that point, so we can keep it in our own backyard. This place is it was very welcoming in the beginning, and it's a good place to step outside that comfort and to revisit what it's like to make genuine connections. And sometimes it's very hard for people just to show up, but when they do and they keep practicing, it's like a muscle, it gets easier. We also have a book club, and reading is very important to me. I think it's very important, you know, to exercise that mind, get lost in a story, and then be accountable for showing up and, you know, talking about said story. We do volunteer work. We did volunteer work at Bread for Life. And I think this is also a very important part of the journey, because when you start giving back and making it less about yourself and can focus on others, I think it is, you give what you get back. So volunteering in the community, you know, feeling good about it, you know, and you could bring something home. It's a nice way to give back and then to also give to yourself, volunteer work. So it was nice that we had that opportunity to volunteer. And we're looking for other volunteer opportunities as well. You know, we have 5 to 8 people that are ready and willing to volunteer at any time. So that's also a nice thing for the community. Self-care. Self-care is great. We've had a lot of people show that support. You know, American Institute, I graduated in 2022, and I reached out to the teachers, and we have free massage once a month for 21 members. And students get the hours, so it's one hand washes the other. So free massage for Sober Southington members. A Moment Away Spa just did this last Saturday. It was a 3-modality for $15, very approachable. We have yoga bi-weekly at the YMCA, and then we have a sober flash tattoo for the rebels in the group. And it's all sober tattoos. So that's Diamond Ink. So a lot of beautiful, fun outreaches or outreach for business and for self-care. And then there's the play. This is, I think this is where I shine the most, is because I really do want to have a good time. We did a silent New Year's Eve rave. I don't know if you've ever done a silent rave, but it's with headphones, and you get to go through 3 different channels and pick your music. If you don't want to partake, then you take your headphones off, and there's ambient music in the background. You could kind of chat. So that was a fun, cool one that we did at Infinite Growth Club. The pizza tour was great because, you know, there's a bunch of pizza places in Southington. I understand that, but we picked 4. We wanted to keep it simple. We went around the town. We did chants on the path. You know, we voted, and Nona's won. I know I don't know.
Did you walk the whole way down the path? Because I had seen a few
No,
of
so
your
we just
stops
did it real
online.
quick. We just did a quick little video. It's like I like to, you know, the video aspect of the Sober Southern is also important because it's people that, you know, aren't ready to engage. They're like, oh, they're having fun. You know, they're doing something different. So pizza tour was great. We have a Dudes Day. It's an all-male energy day, and I would like for the women to kind of coordinate an all-women's day, because I think it's very important on the journey is to heal with your, you know, your masculine or your feminine. So we have an all-dudes day. We also have a kids' corner for the kids. Obviously, they're here, you know, so a lot of people in the group do have kids, so we kind of incorporate the kids thing as well. This is one of our members. We had a Sobriversity on the top. That's the picture. That's the escape room with Dudes Day. That was us on the path doing the pizza tour. And then that's our New Year's Eve silent rave on the bottom. These are all the businesses that we've coordinated with so far. The newest one is Purgatory, so we're going to do these cups. And if you show up at Purgatory with a Sober Southington cup, then you get 10% off your coffee. I'm not sure how long they're going to do that promotion for, but the purchase of the cups not only gives you 10%, but also gives us a kitty now. So we're going to have, you know, some money in the kitty, so we could figure out what we want to do next with the group. You know, we have specific admins, and you know, it really is a group, community-based decision making. You know, so that's what Sober Southington is. So these are all the businesses that we've coordinated with so far, and then the long-term goal is to not have this be operational outside my house. You know, it's like, my wife will tell you, there's little room. You know, in these events, there's a lot of stuff, so it's everywhere. So it's like, if we can get outside the house, that would be great. A sober cafe in Southington, and then other community resources. You know, it's like we never know what's going to come next. So, and then that's my wife. And then this is our kind of our motto. It's like we go further when we go together, and that's basically been how we've operated so far. You know, because it would just be me eating pizza, you know, without other people showing up. So thank you for the support. And also have Mariah here. She's been a member of the group since pretty much day one. You know, I'd like to call her a friend, and now she is also one of my admins because I can't possibly do this by myself. And I finally found somebody that I know and I trust. So if you would like to say a couple words, if that's okay, it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on up.
My name's Mariah Russell. I lived in Southington with my husband for a couple years. We did move to Bristol, but when Shane asked me to speak, I'm so nervous.
Just speak into the mic.
When Shane asked me to speak, I was like, yeah, of course. And then I sat there and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to say? You know, he hit the nail on the head. It's lonely getting sober. You know, a lot of the friends that you think that you have are really good time friends, and they go away when you decide, like, for real, like, I'm going to do it for real this time. I tried reaching out. I tried going to AA. It's not for me. And I was scrolling Facebook one day, and I saw the Sober Southington page, and I found a community that is beginning to exist, that there's so many of us. We've got Shantae here, and I can't even describe to you the camaraderie that Shane and Sarah have brought to us. So myself and another member, we run the book club. You guys are more than welcome to come. We meet on the last Monday of every month at Factory Square. So thank you. That's it. I don't even know what else to say.
I love it.
Thank you for coming out.
That's it for me as well. Thank you for your time. You know, thank you for listening. Thank you, board, as well. Thank you.
Anybody, any council members have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I think this is wonderful. This is great for the community. You came and spoke to us. I'm on steps, myself and
Right.
Chris, and it was a wonderful presentation, well received, and we are just so fortunate to have you here.
Thank
and
you.
your family and your organization in our community.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Is there, Sheen, you're selling the cups?
So these are for members. Yeah, I'm a 30 cups. You know, I told Purgatory, I was like, hey, listen, we're just going to do 30 cups, and whoever, like, but I want people to really be sober, and I want people to really, be committed to the journey. You know, like sometimes it gets a little convoluted, and I know people, they're there for support or they're there for whatever else, but this is for the people that are really trying.
Okay.
That really.
And if you get the company part up and running and you end up looking for donations or anything, let us know so that we can also help promote the organization and help, fund some of the things that are bringing happiness and helping people out.
Awesome. Thank you.
As it's near and dear to my heart. I have a brother, mother, uncles, family members, all who have been on the journey, and proudly support them, and looking forward to proudly supporting you. And we'll keep you posted. We do have things that we have volunteer stuff. It could be fun things, also like trail hiking, where we sometimes look to just trim some brush on a trail that the town owns property. So there's all different types of volunteer groups that do little things, painting a small thing, placard on open space or something like that. So there could be opportunities to have a lunch, and then maybe volunteer for the community when the weather gets a little better as well. That we'll reach out to you on
We're
if
available,
you're interested.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Yep.
Excellent. Thanks for bringing the kids out. We appreciate it. Good
Thank
seeing you all.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. So we are, councilperson communications is still open for council members. Anybody have anything? Yep,
I have some stuff.
please.
So I was able to attend Christmas in the Village in Plantsville Center on December 14th along with my daughter. Kylie. The event was coordinated by Joanne Salerno, and it was exceptionally well done. Local merchants participated and generously provided hot chocolate and other treats for attendees. Highlight of the evening was the horse-drawn carriage ride, which added to the festive atmosphere. Despite the very cold weather, it was so cold. The event was well attended and clearly enjoyed by all. It was a wonderful example of community engagement and holiday spirit in Plantsville Center. On Wednesday, December 17th, it was a busy month. I attended the event held at the Summit in Plantsville, to which all town council members were invited. The event included a meet the team opportunity as well as a tour of the facility. They hosted light refreshments and hors d'oeuvres were served. The event was a valuable opportunity to learn more about the services offered and to meet the staff who support residents and families in our community. We are so fortunate to have the Summit as a resource and healthcare facility in our town. On December 19th, we hosted, not me, but the holiday breakfast was here. Dave Zoni and we were together. We attended the holiday breakfast that was hosted on behalf of the Southington Town Council and Southington Board of Ed here at the John Weichsel Municipal Center. It was held in this very room. The event was catered by the Pepper Pot. The food was delicious. It was wonderful to see town employees come together to share a holiday meal and spend time with colleagues. We have so many unsung heroes from our first responders, police, fire, EMS, our Public Works Department. There were BOE members there, members of the IT department, finance, etc. It was a well-coordinated event to show appreciation of town staff during the holiday season. And then on December 20th, Southington Community Services hosted an event in which community members came together to deliver food to individuals and families in need. This incredible effort benefited 676 families, representing a total of 1,437 individuals. It truly reflects the strength and compassion of our community. The success of this event relies on many volunteers, from those community partners who generously donate food items, to those who assemble the bags, and to those who make the deliveries. Every role plays a critical part. It is a remarkable and well-coordinated event, and while I am just a tiny piece of the overall effort, it is always a pleasure to volunteer my time and help spread holiday cheer to those in need. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Kristen. Before I go on to other people on the dais, maybe we can just ask Jim, since he's remote, so we don't forget. Jim, for councilperson communications, do you have anything that you wanted to share?
No, I participated in that community services Christmas give out, and it was awesome. That's it for me.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, Mr. Zoni.
Yes, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Southington Rotary Club. They hosted a Christmas dinner for the residents in our public housing facilities through the community. It was the first time they got to do it again in person at the Plantsville Congregational Church with the help of the Housing Authority and their staff. So a big shout out to the Rotary Club, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave. Josh.
So on Thursday the 8th, myself and Jen had the opportunity to tour the sewer treatment plant. Chiari, our superintendent, took us around and showed us the process from not so clean water to the clean water that we discharge back into the Quinnipiac. He is very, very knowledgeable on all of that topic. Showed us from beginning to end. There were wonderful smells involved. Not as bad as when I was a kid playing AAA baseball at Rec Park. Very happy to not smell that anymore there. And it was very educational. So. And then I attended sewer committee after that, but I'll let Tony cover that in our wonderful agenda here.
Just a clarification, the AAA baseball was AAA like Farm League, right?
Yeah.
Not
yes,
AAA.
yes.
And how many home runs did you beat Mr. Del Santo's record for home runs?
You know, I'd have to look that up.
16 in
Probably
one
not.
season.
Probably not.
Western Little League, they're Rotary.
I hate to tell you, but there is a gentleman at the North, our kid's age, who
There
hit
it is.
50.
I know.
Yeah, no.
So,
Did good
okay,
for the 80s.
all right. Chris?
A couple things, just in light of the season, many people have reached out, I'm sure to all of us, about the reval, their property reval. So, in talking to the town manager, I just want to share this information, and maybe we can even, Alex, put this on the website somewhere a little bit more predominant, but overall, the increase was 52%. So generally, people might have seen, on average, saw an increase of 52% in their valuation. To break that down further, commercial property increased, percentage went up by 39%, industrial 52%, land 41%, and probably the area that affects residents the most is the residential property increase went up generally 56%. So generally speaking, and Alex, please tell me if I'm saying anything wrong, but assuming if the budget stayed flat, if your property increase was in line with the 56% for residential increase that I mentioned, then your taxes would, again, assuming the budget stayed flat, your taxes would pretty much remain the same. So anything lower than that, you might see a slight decrease. Anything higher than that, you might see an increase. Furthermore, if the budget were to be reduced, I don't know if that's gonna happen, but if it were, you know, again, that would also play a part in residential taxes. So again, on average, the residential property increased by 56%. So people may wanna use that to compare to their own property increase. Did I pretty much cover?
You did. You did very succinct and well job.
Okay, great. So with that, just want to share publicly some good news. Congressman Larson reached out to me the end of last week, I think it was Thursday or Friday, to share he had submitted an appropriations bill for the water department. It was for $3 million, and it was for to address the PFAS issue, which this is human-made chemicals that have been around since the 1940s, but they're part of the water, so the federal government, as part of the remediation, is trying to change the limits allowable for each municipality. So with that, Southington Water Department is going to be doing a major renovation to address the PFAS and to make sure we're within line with the federal limitations. So I'm pleased to share that he shared that it passed, the appropriations bill, and the House passed, so that means if it passes the Senate, which is the next step, that would mean $3 million for this project, which would help the ratepayers in Southington greatly. So I just want to acknowledge and thank Congressman Larson, and again, it's a win for all ratepayers, hopefully if we can bring home that $3 million.
That's great.
Bring it home. Thank you for letting us know that. We appreciate it. Thank you, Congressman Larson, for your efforts. Okay. Anybody else? Nope. I wanted to echo the sentiments and say thanks to Lara and the staff on the staff breakfast, Alex. It was very well attended for the holiday breakfast. Very well attended, and it's really nice to see the staff cycling through and coming when they can throughout the morning and being able to interact with them. So thanks to everybody who put that on. I wanted to give a shout out to the town staff in the highway department who have who put the holiday lights up and took them down recently. They were really beautiful this year, and wanted to say thanks for that. And you know, juggling that during some of the snow and the sleet and the freezing rain that we've been having. So and I know that there were some tired and sleepless people working to keep us all safe, especially during the holidays too. So thanks to the town staff who did that. And thanks to our police department. This week we had Police Appreciation Day. So we appreciate all of the police officers who were out there here in Southington and beyond as well, who are keeping everybody safe and integrating into our communities and having a positive influence on all of us. Okay. Anybody else have Council Maddock?
add
Chris,
one thing?
please.
Just a last statement. With our first responders, we know that Appreciation Day, was it Thursday or Friday last week?
What's today? Monday, Friday?
I think it was Friday. In light of that, tomorrow, there's a celebration at DePaulo honoring all our first responders. Our students going to be recognizing police, fire, EMT. So if there's any first responders watching and would still like to attend, tomorrow morning at DePaulo Middle School, again, we'd like to honor and celebrate all of their contributions.
Thank you. One last item, since we brought up emergency response. I'm coordinating with Andrew and Company One. He's actually representing from AMR on this. But in our first meeting in February, we're going to take 10 or 15 minutes at the beginning of the meeting to get Kristen, you're going to appreciate this, to get a quick overview of CPR techniques that all of us and everybody who's in attendance could benefit from hearing from. The more people we tell, the greater the chance is that somebody will be saved from it. So hopefully that will give those people who might not have had some exposure to this a little bit of exposure. And for those who have had exposure, maybe a little refresher and motivate some other people to get out and become CPR certified and knowledgeable. So look for that in our February 8th meeting.
Will they include face masks or face shields so that you could do mouth to mouth?
I don't know. We'll
Mouth
ask
to
Andrew.
mask?
You're on the EMS committee, right? So let's, I'll send you guys all the email that I sent today to Andrew, and he's going to coordinate with the town manager. And yeah, it'd be nice if they had had some of those and some giveaways even for everybody. I'm not sure if they can do giveaways if you're not technically getting certified. I don't know the legality of it, but we'll ask.
They do a friends and family one.
Perfect.
Will Resusci Annie be coming around?
Sounds good. All right.
Seriously?
Item 4, reports of special committees. Item A, follow-up on SHS school roof solar project.
Great. I
Chris.
have the information for you, Tony. I think you'll be very pleased, but I want to share it with everyone. Before we do that, I want to acknowledge and thank the council because the last meeting, we voted to approve. And if you remember, we talked a little bit about the time frame. If we didn't, there was a change. So with that, hopefully we were able to get approximately $400,000 back for this project for the citizens of the town. So Alex shared with me a neighboring town actually didn't meet the deadline and lost about $500,000. So it really was great oversight to approve that just in a timely manner. So I want to thank you all for your support in doing that. And again, it saved us some money. So back to the project, the SHS roof and solar project. Just to give a quick overview, the referendum amount was roughly $6.9 million. That did include both the roof and the solar portion of the project. With that, we received extremely favorable bids for both. So the roof cost was approximately $2.2 million, and the current anticipated cost of the solar project is approximately $1.4 million. So based on those numbers, we're about $3.2 million under budget for that project.
That's great.
Now specifically, Tony, the rough calculation for the payback, as you asked, what the payback is. For Connecticut's Department of Administrative Services, the Office of Grant Administration reimbursement rate is around 55%. So that means that, and the federal tax incentive may be up to 30%. So roughly 85% of that total project cost, or $1.35 million, will be reimbursed in the first year by state and federal funds. That'll leave about $202,500 for Southington to pay out of pocket. However, Eversource school program incentive will generate approximately $150,000 per year in revenue.
Perfect.
For the solar array for the next 20 years. So the conservative estimate is in about 2 years, we'll have paid back, and we were still over $3 million under budget.
Thanks, Chris.
That's a great deal.
Appreciate it.
We need more of these funding
know.
initiatives. That's great. Thank you for getting the details so that we could inform the community. A lot of times we here put these up for a vote to the community for referendums. People see the money, but they don't necessarily see the full, the full benefit. And so, taking a time to pause and show that benefit, I think, is really important for the residents, and also, helps to put some trust trust in the decision-making process. So thanks for doing that, Chris.
Absolutely.
Okay, item B, sewer committee and recommendations. Tony, you've got quite a number of these later on, so tell us all about them.
Yeah, which is why the agenda, we had to redo it to add these things. Okay, we've had 2 meetings since the last town council. And these are the things that I'd like to talk about. The first is miscellaneous stuff. Josh has already mentioned the plant tour. We also decided to put some signage up around the old plant, which nobody knows where it is, which we want to keep a secret, just to tell them to keep out. There's some concrete there that, may be an issue. The sewer lining project, which I talked about, on this dais, is finished for 2026. We have a $1.5 million, but we put aside $1 million for this. And it was finished, 5 miles of sewer was lined, 8-inch sewer pipes, complete, done. And staff is reviewing the sewer lining videos before submitting payment to make sure it was done correctly. Now, the sewer lining, I think you asked the question, how long will this last? And Chiari, the plant manager, what it does is it's a composite that gets tied into the clay pipes, some of which in town are 100 years old. And obviously they degrade over time. And our Chiari, the plant superintendent, we'll all be dead then, essentially, because it'll be more than 100 years. So we intend to do it across most of the town. And so we started with the area called Old Borough, which is obviously an older part of the town. And essentially, any 100-year-old pipes. The Old Borough is nearly 100% done. We have $500,000 left, and we'll decide again in spring whether to line some more pipes. The thing is, the task will never go away until it's finished, and it's often a good idea to spend money on infrastructure now as opposed to then, in the sense that it'll be cheaper. Anyway, that's down the road. Okay, the 4 items you have in front of you, 5 items, as we split one up into 2, are all essentially they're leftover tasks and projects from last year. The first is the South End Pump Station, which I've spoken about before. As we know, we had an unfortunate accident where somebody at McDonald's Drive-In drove into our generator and barrier and destroyed both of them, which is right next to McDonald's. Since then, we didn't want to replace with what we had. The generator will be, but the barrier engineering in town worked on a design that will hopefully prevent it from taking out the generator again, because that's been hit twice in the last few years. So we came up with a project with a company called Kovacs and United Concrete for $136,000. And that's what we'll ask for to be the town council to approve tonight. So they gave us a maximum of 136 grand. We will get quite a bit of that back from the insurance company, but it's not a replacement for the barrier. It's an upgrade, because we didn't want it to happen again. So that bit won't be covered. And also $10,000, which isn't covered by the persons who did it, we'll probably have to eat as well. So it'll be 136 minus whatever we get from the insurance company.
So we did go to the insurance company for that?
Yes.
Because I know some people have asked questions about
Yes. Oh, yes.
whether we actually, when we have automobile accidents, whether we go to the person.
Well, our insurance company did.
We went to the insurance company for some of that payment,
yeah.
as much as we
They
could get.
paid as much as they could.
That's great.
Put it that way.
That's great. I know there's some misinformation that's out there about those
Well,
type
there
of
always
topics.
is on
so
insurance.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chairman. But we are insured, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, second thing, which has to be approved tonight, is there's some gunite repairs at the phosphorus removal building. Gunite is just a mixture of cement, sand, and water. sprayed into concrete items or others as a coating. And there was some degradation on both the north and south clarifiers, which are the tanks at the phosphorus building. We did the north last year, the south we're doing this year, and we're recommending the council approve an amount of $79,640. We received 10 bids for this project. PIM committee, who actually did the north, we chose because it was by far the lowest. They came in with $72,400, and we are asking for that plus a 10% contingency, and you'll see that tonight. It's part of one of the plant maintenance accounts, in which we have $114,000 left for this year. Okay, next one. The SCADA server infrastructure. It's essentially a computer systems replacement project. SCADA, for anybody who wants to know, is essentially a control capability for the entire flow mechanics of most wastewater plants use it. It's using oil drilling, anything like that. The server system that we have that was needs to be changed because it's based on MS Windows Server 2026. That's out of not just maintenance, but out of support come 2027. And we structured a move to a more a different capability. It's using MS Virtual Service for those who understand technology. It'll give us more efficiencies as well. It won't just be a replacement, apples to apples. Time Bond has performed the SCADA work before for the plant. Gave us a quote of $49,500. This will be paid out of the plant maintenance account, which we have $229K left. And that's all the materials for that are in your packet if you enjoy reading that kind of stuff. And last, and probably this has the longest time frame, is we've changed, as you all know, because we all voted for it about a year ago on this dais. We've changed the sanitary service Suez area, which is what we control the flows in the plant with is a map that shows where you can put sewer connections, and anything outside of that you can't. Okay, and we have to commit to a flow within that area, because anything more than that over a period of time would degrade the plant. And that's, I guess you could say, it was mandated by DEEP, which is the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection at the state. So this goes back about 8 or 9 years, where a developer in town, had an over 55 housing project on Laning Street, and came to the sewer committee and asked if he could swap his property on Laning Street, which is right next to the sewer line but outside of it, with another property which is inside the sewer line. It's the same amount, and it'd be a swap. And we said, that's an interesting idea. We moved it on to the town council, and they moved it on. The reason it's interesting is because obviously we need over 55 housing in this town. So that sort of motivated us. But when it went to planning and zoning, it went around the houses for several years. They threw it out because of too much density, problem with the roads. It turned into an 830G project. That didn't go far. And eventually, it slimmed down to a 30 condo unit project. Far less than we talked about, Dave, a long time back. On Laning Street. Now, when it came back to the sewer committee, it was discussed again. He talked about a like-for-like swap. But then what was developed out of that committee then was a penalty in the sense that if we're fine in doing this with developers under certain conditions, as long as it's in our interest. However, as long as the sewer flows are protected. However, there should be a penalty for a variety of reasons. One is because there is a bit of work involved in this. And secondly, we honestly don't want people doing it unless they're really committed. So what we ended up with, and I had to go back to the ordinance to look, was a bedroom swap. You know, you would say, your piece of property over here, which is in the sewer lines, it may be the same size, but we'll say what you can do based on the amount of bedrooms. Now, there's 60 bedrooms in Laning Street, and we said there had to be a 20% up on that as a sort of a penalty for asking for it. So this property on over on the west side of town, they can develop it, but they can't provide sewers for 72 bedrooms worth of housing, which essentially limits them completely, you know, for developing that area, because it is residential. So that's the swap. We did an ordinance in town back, I think, last May, which essentially codified this, because you can't just do it for one. You have to, you know, essentially do it for essentially everybody. And we put some more codifications in, such as it had to be. You couldn't have islands of this, okay? They had to be connected somehow to each other. You know, islands of stuff that you can't do sewers in, but, you know. So that's where we are. However, in order to make this formal, a company called Ty and Bond did an engineering consulting study for us on what needed to be done to formalize it to DEEP. And they gave us a report at the end of October, I believe, which said you need to do certain things. They proved that the flows were fine with this swap, you know, compared to, you know, what we said. They did all that work. But also they said, could you please, you know, not please, but you needed to send a formal letter, copy of the sewer map with the new stuff on it. You can't see it from here, it's in our packets. And a copy of the water pollution control plan that's updated with this new stuff that's signed by all of us on this dais. That's the town council, because we're essentially the authority. So those two things would have to be approved tonight to be sent off to DEEP. And there's two other minor things. Well, what other? One is these two things have to be given to Councillor Clock, who's in charge of the POCD, and that's got to be in our new POCD, which will be out next year, this year.
Yeah, we'll be voting on it later this year.
Yeah, okay. So these two will have to be there, and that's it. Those will all be voted on this evening. We cut it down into 5 things, and if there's any, I'll take any questions now, but we can save them for when we vote on them tonight as well. I don't mind.
Anybody have questions on the sewer discussions that Tony had? Okay,
I also attended. Can I give a little update too?
please.
Perfect. So I attended my first sewer committee meeting on December 11th, 2025. During that meeting, I became concerned to learn that with the current billing system used to invoice town residents, staff members do not feel fully trained or equipped to utilize the billing program to its full capabilities. As a result, staff shared concerns that there may be outstanding or uncollected invoices with estimates ranging from approximately $250,000 to as much as $1.7 million from both businesses and homeowners. If accurate, this represents a potentially significant financial impact to the town. As both a town council member and a taxpayer, I find this information troubling and believe it warrants careful review. I strongly encourage that this matter be fully evaluated to ensure accurate billing, proper collection of revenues, and appropriate safeguards moving forward, because $1.7 million is a lot of money to have outstanding.
Excellent. Thank you. And, you know, this has been actually an initiative that we'll let Tony talk, but this has been an initiative that Tony actually chaired for the last couple of years, and has significantly decreased the number of outstanding billings.
It was
So, yeah, it was higher. It was a lot higher, and then we were able to turn that around. So, Tony, why don't you give some update on that?
Sure. I mean, the stuff I've said on this dais, especially last year, was, our receivables were, I believe, I can't remember when we started, but they were nearly $2 million, outstanding receivables. Now, in the fullness of time, I'll break it down. The reason they're like that is because you cannot turn off the sewers. The water board doesn't have this problem because you can turn off their water individually to the house, and therefore people pay their water bills, unless they can't, of course. But on the sewer, people seem to think that they can ignore that because they won't get penalized for it. However, they will get penalized for it because a lien is put on their house, and we will sell that house when those liens come up, the same way we do for tax payments, right? Because we will get first bite, right, out of the sale. So the money will come to us. We lose the ability to get, to use that money, essentially, for interest and stuff. But we do charge interest in order to account for that, and we charge 12% a year, we went up to 18%. So we do get, we will get the money we should. However, the issue is this: people are going to lose their houses for a goddamn sewer bill, okay, which we have to stop. Now, we receivables report, the department in engineering that was a couple of people's collection was consolidated with the tax collection because they all do the same thing. And there's obviously more people to concentrate on this. And when that was done, the knowledge of how receivables were created was essentially lost. And we're trying to create it as we speak, okay? We've, the tax collection, the tax revenue, collection person is new, and she's promised us, and you were at the meeting, the last one, she gave a presentation, she promised us that she would sort it out by the end of January, when she was working with Munis, which seems to be a very weird system to work with. And we would have a correct receivables report, and we would then, we would then be able to come up with a much more aggressive collection strategy. We don't have people's numbers, we have their addresses. We talked about sending constables out if we can do that to knock on people's door. So this has been discussed and it's working, and will be, again, a considerable focus for the rest of this year. The reason it's not a concern in the sense of a fiscal concern for us right now is because receivables are treated on the positive side of accounting. Okay, that's still considered that. So there's no actual real cash issues that we have at the moment with it, and we won't, for this year. There are some liens going out, I believe, towards the end of this year, where we will recoup some money. But again, we do not want to get to this point where people can lose their houses for a sewer bill. But that's it.
Yeah, please, the town manager.
So just for the public, back in 2021, it was
Just turn your mic right towards you, Alex.
I came to find out about the receivables issue when I was speaking with our former assessor and tax collector. And it came about that the town has never collected sewer bills in any fashion whatsoever, except for putting liens on the houses. Now, it's great the town gets 12% interest, but that's also not great for the residents and the ratepayers. The other part of that is, after 15 years under Connecticut statute, those liens are extinguished as a matter of law. So for many years, and this spans decades. If you didn't pay your sewer bill, it would just be extinguished after 15 years. Unless you sold your house, you'd have to obviously pay that on the conveyance. So in 2022, we went through and pulled everybody with 10 years or plus outstanding bills. There were about a dozen or so that were there. And I immediately sent them letters and asked them to enter into payment arrangements. I said, you have 1 year to get within 5 years of being delinquent, otherwise we're gonna be starting tax sales. Because yes, the tax collector does do tax sales every other year, but the town manager at the time and myself did not want to be in the position of people losing their houses when the town has never enforced something for 60 years. So they have letters, people entered into payment arrangements, and they had to the end of this year to become undelinquent, those older, those more aged accounts, because of the fact that the town would lose after 15 years all of their principal and interest. The town is not going to tax sale this year, so we've advised those, we'll be going next year. We've advised those folks they have 1 more year to catch up. So we have sent, and here's the issue, it's also just mailing addresses. So we've actually gone on Facebook, we've tried to find people if they're not responding to us, we've done everything humanly possible to track them down. But we do send them letters saying, you have a year, you have a year and a half, you have to come in compliance. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to be in the position where we're having the attorney do tax sales in town council chambers upstairs. But it's also not fair for people not to pay their sewer bills for 15 years for everybody else to have to subsidize that. So that's the history. It's been about a 3-year remediation. We're not just going to take people's houses because we found out about it 3 years ago. We're giving them time to catch up. And then there will be a point where the collections will commence.
Okay, sounds like we got a plan. Just to Councilwoman Guida's comments, was this discussed during the meeting?
Oh, yes.
And was there a, did you guys take an action item or motion to do some training on this? What's the outcome at the subcommittee level?
I'll just say, it's the issue is with the person who addressed us in December's meeting. His name is Harley Mon. I forget the last Mon. I can't pronounce his last name. Yep. Who came to us from, I think, Avon very recently. She's got an excellent reputation, and she's committed to obviously doing it. And she gave us a presentation on what she knew about it. We didn't go into the details that town manager has, because they're restricted to, we're trying to collect sewer revenues. But again, she committed to it. We'll see her again in February. We'll have a discussion on overall financials as well with the finance director in town. And, we'll proceed with the strategy that we need to. But that was all discussed in December.
Okay. That was, so it sounds like there's a plan. Ms. Guida, you expressed some concern. Are you concerned that something's not being done?
Well, so in the meeting when she did her presentation, she said that they're working with this system, Munis, and they don't know how to use it, which is concerning. So we have this program people don't know how to use. And she said training wasn't going to happen until a few more weeks, which this meeting was, I think, December 8th. And she said it wasn't going to happen until sometime in the middle of January, so maybe next week. But that's a long time to have this program and not, have training to use it.
She's new to the position as well, so I think we have to make sure we give her a little time. But that's the reason why we have subcommittees, so I appreciate you guys raising the issue, and hopefully at the subcommittee level, you guys will get it worked out, and if you don't, certainly let us know. I'm sure the town manager will also continue to follow up. But I know it's been a journey for the last few years. If you were watching the town council meetings of the last 2 or 3 years, you'll have probably heard regular monthly updates from Tony about the collections and, scoring, some additional activities and trainings and trying to get the collections under order because, as Alex said, the goal is to get collections but not get people out of their, not have it so people are out of their homes as a result of that. So,
Sorry, I need to say.
yeah, please, go ahead, Tony.
As a courtesy, I would be grateful if you could talk about concerns with me at a meeting or offline. If you're concerned about certain things that go beyond the sewer committee, which this issue very definitely is, we can set up a meeting with the town manager, whoever needs to be there, and we can discuss it all the way through so you're fully briefed. As a courtesy, I would ask you to do that in future, okay?
I was at the meeting and I did try to have that conversation with you and you said it was being handled, so.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
First of all, Mrs. Guida has every right to bring up any point she wants to bring up, and it should be done in a public manner. So, Tony, I don't think there's anything wrong, and I appreciate the fact that she brought it up. Second, in light of the comments that were shared, I'd like to ask the town manager if you can give us an update this week on.
Give it to you now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, can you send us an email?
He'll tell us now.
Right now, if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
No,
but
no,
if you
no,
know.
because,
Okay.
yeah, so the Munis system is our ERP. That's the system that controls everything within town government, from payments to accounting. Kathy's looking at me because it is a bear. It's a very antiquated, but they've got a monopoly on the market. They probably have 70% of all municipal governments. And once you're in, you're in. And the customer service, to be quite frank, is not top-notch. It's not Amazon customer service. So when you need to make changes to the program, you just can't go in there and make changes. You have to kind of call them, put in work tickets, and then pay them hourly to make the changes. If you want trainings, if you need to make a tweak, so they're actually doing some conversions in Munis. They're going to a different system that's a lot user-friendly. You actually have to schedule the trainings, and it takes. Most of them are virtual. Sometimes we have people come in from the actually physically come here. Like we had it all hands on deck last summer, where all town staff were physically have a trainer here. But the trainings, you have to book them. They're typically people from Arizona who are doing them remote to you. So that's the delay. It does take a couple weeks to, sometimes 3 to 4 months to actually schedule a training. It is not ideal whatsoever. So concerns are absolutely warranted because the timelines they're not appropriate and they're not acceptable. But we are working. Hallery has actually done this at Avon. That was one of the reasons we hired her. She made this conversion from a different ERP system called GEMS, which is a phenomenal system. We use it for our tax collections, and she's working on converting it to that, and actually she's working on converting it to one unified system where it's going to just be a lot simpler. So it is a long process. She's also in the middle of January, which is our second busiest month of the year, where the line, if you go to town hall, is out the door right now. Folks are paying their second installment. So Mrs. Guida brings up great points, great questions, great concerns. But yeah, Hallery is very busy, and her staff, Roxanne Avidable and Matt Bunko, are absolutely killing it there. They're working as a great team, and Hallery can't speak more highly of them, and they can't speak highly of her. So very proud of the good work they're doing.
You got a great team there. And Hallery, I think she just started recently, right? How long? A couple months, maybe?
Right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so Thanksgiving. So that's great. Glad to see she's coming up to speed, and we appreciate their help. Keep us posted on how this goes over the next month or two.
Can I just ask one more question,
Yeah,
Alex?
of course.
So is there any opportunity for them to do like in-kind education? So say if like another municipality works with this same program, can they go train in Bristol or Terryville or Meriden to get the training they need, like work alongside someone to?
Bristol does use it, and we have reached out to them. We haven't gotten the response we'd hoped. I think they're also in a transition right now with a new administration, and the response is they're very busy. So we have asked.
Jen.
Okay. One thing I wanted to mention was that out of the technology committee, one of the recommendations that Alex and his team have been coordinating with multiple staff members on is software training, because it is so important. But I find this conversation to be very, very micromanaging without having the full knowledge. And I just having been involved in training my own staff and using my own systems at my own company, I would be concerned in having a whole nother municipality training my staff, because the way you use systems is so inherently different. I think that would be extremely inefficient, but that's my opinion. Again, I find it to be very invasive of daily operations to have this conversation.
Okay,
And one thing.
we're going to wrap it up. Tony, last comment.
Yes. I wanted to make a comment to Councillor Palmieri's. I wasn't trying to stop people, as a councillor, talking in public, period. What I was asking was that we have subcommittees to deal with these issues. And these issues have been discussed at every single subcommittee for the last 2 years, okay? Now, obviously a new member, maybe, I would have appreciated if you'd asked more questions. We could have gone into the whole history, what the town was doing for this. We could have gone through all that. All you had to do was to ask questions of the people there, and we wouldn't have had this conversation. Because I've had it with people on this dais, through pretty much most meetings of last year. It's a really important point. So, Chris, I really don't want you to say something like that, because that was not my intent. That's it.
Okay, great. Moving on to item C, Public Works Committee. Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My report is much longer than sewer, so that's a joke. So we had our meeting last Wednesday. The police chief reported that his department has been very, very busy. Folks, he's being inundated with requests for speed bumps and speed humps and speed cameras and sidewalks and speed traps throughout town, which is fine. Every time someone asks or someone contacts either the Public Works Division or the Town Council, I always forward it to the chief, and the chief is very accommodating. He does a lot of speed radar on streets where traffic happens. Unfortunately, some constituents or residents are never going to be happy. Okay, there's no way that we can catch every person speeding 24 hours a day. But we've had reports on Mill Street, we've had reports on Bellevue. Ms. Triano? And so speeders on that road, tickets have been given out, and he reports on that as well. So if the public do have concerns or questions, I know the chief is not a fan of putting speed bumps or speed humps in the middle of roads, so that's probably not going to happen, and he's the ultimate traffic authority. So more to report on the police a little bit down on my report. Mr. LaPrey reported that the hazardous waste collection that occurred on November 8th yielded 169 cars from Southington, which cost over $10,000. The exact amount was $10,140. That's at $60 per car. The town manager and I spoke briefly about this, and I guess the view going forward is we probably won't be having these anymore. They're just too expensive. And the problem is it costs $60 per car if you have 1 can of paint or 12 cans of paint. So there's got to be a more efficient way to do this. So more to follow, but I don't think it's financially advantageous to even do this anymore. And I think a lot of the communities are saying the same thing. Paint stores take paint, auto places take oil. So we're going to have to work a little harder if the issue arises in the next year or so to have one of these events. We really have to look and see where our the money for these types of events is really going. I think it's inefficient the way they do it, but that's just me. Mr. LaPrey spoke about storms. We've had 7 storms this season already. There was 14 total of last year, so we're halfway. You might want to say we're halfway through the snowy season. We're on our second salt order with deliveries being delayed statewide, which happens every year. But the salt shed is at half capacity, so we're doing okay. Speaking of the salt shed, we put that off enough. It's coming on 40 years old and it needs to be replaced. They do have a fund where they're partially budgeting the salt shed, and there's a different type of salt shed that they're going to be putting up, where it's not going to be as expensive as they originally thought, because it's not going to have full walls going all the way down. So more to follow on that, so stay tuned, everyone, for that. Engineering, Plantsville safety improvements. We're delighted to say that the lighting cabinet was replaced with a temporary unit, and overall, the project is complete. With that, the pocket park is done. It looks stupendous. I'm not sure if folks have driven by at night. Downtown Plantsville looks gorgeous. Downtown Southington is jealous. So more to follow there. We're going to be talking, we have an economic development strike meeting this Thursday, and I had mentioned to Mr. Perillo about sharpening up downtown Southington as well. We got an email this past week from a constituent who has a long history with town politics, and he's very well-respected and well-known, and I agree with him. He said the trees downtown Southington have probably lived their length, and they should probably come down. So more to follow on that as well. I hate to keep saying that, but right now, it's just a tip of the iceberg type thing, so we'll talk about it a little bit at Economic Strike, and we'll bring that up at our next meeting. We are having a March 4th during our Public Works meeting. Our meeting itself will go from 4 to 4:30, and then at 4:30, the Department of Transportation is going to put on a presentation because they are going to be replacing the bridges over Curtis Street, West Street, and Jude Lane. The chief is very concerned because they want to they want to do them all at the same time, which is, I don't know how they're going to pull that rabbit out of the hat. But we'll listen to the presentation. They probably won't start working on this for another 2 or 3 years. Again, more to follow. The public is invited to come to that meeting on March 4th. Our meeting starts at 4. It'll be a brief meeting till 4:30, and then the DOT will take over, and it should be just about an hour. We want to hold them to an hour, so we do have town staff and volunteers at those meetings, so we don't want them to go too much into the evening. A constituent talked about possibly putting more sidewalks on Mill Street. So Mr. Norse explained to the Public Works Commission and wants us to tell everyone that will listen that sidewalks are not a problem. Unfortunately, if a resident wants to add sidewalks to their property, the town will split the cost with them. The problem is they're not. Well, for new construction, it's 50-50. I heard that from, new construction. The problem is they're not going to put a sidewalk in front of one house. It doesn't make much sense to put a sidewalk to nowhere. So typically what they like to do is they like to go out to all the neighbors and ask all the neighbors on a particular area road so the construction company can come in. The problem there is the lion's share of the people don't want to have the expense of adding sidewalks. So you politely let this person know if he can maybe garner some support from his neighbors, and if we can get 10 houses to put sidewalks in at a 50-50 split between the residents and the town, then that's something that the engineering department will work with and the public works department will work with, but more to follow on that.
Mike, just a quick question.
Yes.
Maybe to the town manager, but if one person wants to put a new sidewalk in and they go contract it, can they submit for reimbursement of 50%?
They can. It's not ideal.
Right, obviously, we
gonna be more
we don't want, one person out of
Well, that's what
50.
will happen.
Yeah,
Put one
but
sidewalk in
but if
versus
somebody does want to start the ball, they can. Sure. Yeah, okay.
And I only look back as we tried this on Carter
Lane, yeah.
about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and I think we sent 14 letters out and 13 said no. So the one person that wanted the sidewalks didn't have much support from his neighbors. So, Water Department, Mr. Arndt talked about finally coming to completion for the road work on Academy, Oak, Vermont area. He said there's about 2 or 3 weeks remaining. The Berlin Street situation will resume in the spring. We talked about how the temporary patching on Berlin is not great, but it's the best that they can do because they do have to dig it all up again in the spring. So he's asking everyone to kind of bear with him. And we had a constituent come to the meeting, and they asked some questions for the chief with regards about putting sidewalks on Clark Street and possibly a crossing so the folks who live in her neighborhood can get to the trail. And the chief was not comfortable discussing or making any decisions on a state road. He had said that in his 34 years, or 24 years as the chief, he's never had to make a decision on a state road. So he was very clear on that. And we were able to accept our 2026 meeting schedule, and that was approved. So I'm not sure if I missed anything. Mr. Zoni was there.
I don't think you missed anything. It was a very good presentation.
Well, thank you.
There are a couple issues that you mentioned that are state issues.
Yeah.
I'd like to work on those on my own. I have some former colleagues that are in positions now where maybe you could help us, so to speak.
Big man on campus.
Well, I don't know. But I was on the campus at one
That's
time,
right.
and some of the people that are
got
still there have
history.
moved up in the campus, so we can
That'd
see
be
what we
great.
could do.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Dave. Anybody have questions on Public Works? Just the only comment I have, Mike, you mentioned some of the paving and to be patient. My only ask is to you, and I know I've expressed this already in writing, same to the town manager, but the downtown area, Academy and Oak, Vermont, Berlin, these things, when the water department is done with these, they have to be repaved. They gotta be repaved next year. I mean, Academy is they're all laughable.
Vermont is
But Vermont is laughable, and I would ask you to please go take a look, because it's, even the patchwork is coming up, and at the very least, if the patchwork is coming up, we have to clean it up, because it's crumbled and it's all over the road. So if you can please take a note to just have that taken a look at. I'm not sure if a little bit of, cold patch, winter patch is doable there, but if somebody can take a look at that. I drove again down Vermont, and, from the Berlin side of Vermont going up the hill, on the left-hand side, on the the east side, it's just, the road is just crumbling, and it's crushed, and it's all over the road. And I think, obviously the plows get to that, but we need to ensure that these roads are high on our priority list come next year. And Berlin Ave is a state road, right? We have to make sure that the state follows up and paves that road. I mean, those roads are hideous. And, obviously the residents are going to be patient during the construction season, but I don't think anybody's going to be patient if we don't pave them once we're done. Okay. EMS committee. Kristen.
Thank you. The EMS committee held a special meeting on January 8th. A summary of key discussion items is what I will discuss. Lake Compounds gate numbering. So on October 16th, 2025, members of the EMS commission, along with representatives from police, fire, and AMR ambulance, met with John McNeil, health, safety, and environmental manager, Stan Switala, security manager for Lake Compounds. The purpose of the meeting was to review and coordinate EMS response and service to the park. As a result of this discussion, a gate numbering system was implemented. The 3 park entrance gates are now designated as Gate 1 through 3. When calls for service originate from Lake Compound Security, the designated gate number will be provided to Central Dispatch. This change is expected to improve response efficiency and coordination for incidents occurring at the park. For EMS activity for 2025, the committee reviewed EMS call volume data for January through November 2025 and compared it to the same time period in 2024. The review indicated that from January through November of 2025, EMS averaged 581 medical calls per month, which represents a slight decrease from the same period in 2024, when the average was 599 medical calls per month. If this monthly average is maintained, the projected total number of medical calls for 2025 is approximately 6,970 compared to 7,269 medical calls in 2024. For the EMS contract, the EMS committee is reviewing and revising the existing contract while AMR conducts a concurrent review. Once a consensus draft is reached, it will be reviewed by the town manager and legal counsel, then presented to the town council for review, feedback, and suggested adoption. The intent is to maintain cost-neutral contract with no direct cost to the town for EMS services. Updates will be provided to the town manager as the process progresses, with the goal of having a near final draft by the March 19, 2026 EMS committee meeting. For open projects, There's analysis of EMS call volume by time of day and day of week to confirm staffing and coverage align with peak demand periods. And there's also a review of priority 1 and priority 2 response times in relation to contractual performance requirements. That's it.
Wonderful. Any questions on EMS? Yes, Vice Chair.
I think that statistic is interesting, the decline
Yeah.
of the calls. Did they have any insight as to what was driving that, or?
They didn't, no, because
Okay.
it's hard to say, because it doesn't give us the reason for the call or the nature. It just says that the
Gives the
ambulance was
number.
dispatched to,
Okay,
and
yeah,
it
that's
just gives the
interesting.
priority.
Kristen, is the, does the number include, is that AMR only?
Yes, because
Or
that's.
does it
who-
include if the fire department responded but AMR didn't respond?
No, it's just AMR.
Okay, okay. And, you know, maybe to the town manager and to the EMS committee, you know, I don't want to get to the end zone here and then have the same issue that we had with service providers. I know that we had our senator and maybe some state reps looking at legislation to allow municipalities to have the freedom to choose the ambulatory service that they felt best fit the needs of their community. And I think it would be good to proactively get in front of that and take that as an action item, if you don't mind, please, providing that. I think you're also present for the
I
committee.
will follow up with the entire Town
Delegation.
of Stellington delegation. I'll actually refresh that, some of those emails. Representative Martinez got onto the tail end of it, so I want to make sure she's fully briefed on the issue as well.
Yeah, we had a situation where we went out to bid and we had a much better service offering for a much lower cost. And because of the state legislation that requires districts or regions, I can't remember what they're called, but it's a monopoly. You know, a company gets a monopoly that they somehow get awarded, and I'm unsure how that occurs. And state legislation doesn't allow a municipality to change. And that really hurts us from a financial perspective sometimes, because, you know, we could have saved, I think it was $3 million was the number over a few years of the contract. But the state legislation didn't allow us to do that. So we're looking for our delegation to work hard to try to get that legislation changed so that municipalities can assess and choose the service provider that they feel is most appropriate. Okay, Dave, please.
Just to add to what you're saying, the committee of cognizance for that issue is the Public Health Committee. I served on that when I was in the legislature. If the town manager, he could reach out directly to the chairman of the Public Health Committee and get his answers,
Yeah,
his questions answered accurately and.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of questions. We know what the issue is. We worked with the Department of Health, who actually stood against us and against our recommendation, if I recall. They stood against us and told us that we weren't allowed to do it, and actually denied our appeal. So we need more than just going to the Department of Health and that committee. We have to change that legislation.
Well, in
So
order to change that legislation, it would have to go through that committee, is what I'm telling you.
I think there was legislation proposed, so we have to just revisit that, and we will touch base with that committee as well.
Yeah,
And if you want
follow
to
up for you.
send the town manager a note with maybe a contact or
will.
something, that may be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, Ordinance Committee update. Tony?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. The Ordinance Committee has been constituted, and I'd like to have, I'm the chair, by the way, and I'd like to have a meeting sometime, the first month of the year. There's 3 items that have been put before me. 2 of them are holdovers, essentially, from last year. And the first one is the rather thorny issue of e-bikes. We discussed this briefly, I think, September, October timeframe. But since then, there's been legislation that's been codified by the state on the various e-bikes that breaks it down from those that can go 60 miles an hour down to the things that your children of 5 can ride. So But we know what the issues are. We've discussed them here. We've had them in town. Essentially, kids riding on these bikes and not exactly doing what they should be doing. We've had one serious, very serious accident with an e-bike, and we wish to prevent more. So we'll discuss that. If an ordinance will do that, obviously we'll be interested in that. And that will be probably the main item for the agenda. Second one is graffiti on town property, which is, again, this is a minor issue, but it's to do with chalk-ins that have appeared on town property. The town obviously gets rid of it as soon as it knows it's there. This isn't a free speech issue, obviously. It's an issue of, making sure the town is clean. But an issue happened at the Apple Harvest Festival, which was rather unpleasant. Again, it was cleared immediately. But there was one of the chalk-ins was obviously put on with another thing of, whatever they used to do so, and it lasted about a week. So we'd like to discuss it. It's an ordinance may or may not be appropriate. We do have a vandalism, obviously, which is the police's purview. But people wanted to discuss it, and people did send some mails to me, so here it is. And the last one is a new proposal from one of the members of the Ordnance Committee. It's to do with the use of our emergency services, particularly fire engines, on the highways when there's an automobile accident. And there's towns in Oklahoma, I believe, who are trialing out if you have an accident on the highway, and whoever is at fault, if someone is at fault, the fire department actually bills the insurance company, not a lot of money, but it starts, I think, at $500 or something, just for the service of coming out and providing, the capabilities they do on the highway. So there's three things. Two are old, one's new. And what I'm looking for is to have a meeting of the Ordnance Committee next week, which is essentially, see, what's the date today? The 12th. Okay, it'll be 19th, 22nd, Thursday 22nd at 4 o'clock. And if people are okay with that, got any questions or anything, that will probably constitute the agenda unless I hear otherwise from this group.
So if I understood you, Tony, you're looking to later on in old business send a recommendation to have the ordinance committee
Yes,
evaluate whether there's whether it's proper and whether we should have ordinances around e-bikes, vandalism, and insurance billing for fire truck service.
Yeah, and we can
Automobile.
We can discuss it now, or discuss it
Yep.
later on.
Okay, thanks. Any questions?
Do we not, we don't charge for fire trucks going out to all those accidents on that Bermuda Triangle stretch of 84?
We receive revenue
receive
for the
some.
highway from the state. There's a $500, there's a $500 per call that we receive only on the highway. I don't think it's on state road, right? Just the highways?
Just if the DOT calls us up to the highway.
Right.
And historically, that fund has been depleted. It's appropriated by the state. It's depleted typically the end of the winter for the fiscal year.
Yeah, so halfway through the year.
About
Three quarters of the way through.
three-quarters,
Yeah.
the state fiscal year.
We got a better chance of getting our sewer bills paid.
Watch it. This is in addition to any monies that the fire department receives.
Okay.
And then for the vandalism, for the chalk, so are you looking for something that's obviously more permanent then, right? That's like left
Well,
behind?
that's
It's not,
I don't want. That's my opinion, in the sense of
it was very problematic.
it's my opinion that that's where I think the issue lies. People have other issues with it. So Yeah, I mean, we have a vandalism, obviously, the police can do it, but it's a question of cleanup. Obviously, and people have asked, can we charge for the fire department services for cleaning up? Because obviously it's hosed down as soon as it's there. I'd like to hear what people's views are on those. I like to hear that before opining on that issue.
Well, I think the town attorney's on that committee as well,
Yes,
right?
the town attorney
It's
is
probably
always
appropriate that we hear the
Yes,
legal
right,
opinion on
right.
what's legal and what's not as well.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing of the ordinance committee is we always ask for legal opinions, obviously, to begin with, number one. Number two, we also ask, are there best practices elsewhere? And those are also given to the committee. It certainly hasn't got to that point yet. You know, I have issues with Chalkins, being considered anything other than just a nuisance. You know, free speech is free speech, and I think we need to protect that. That's it.
Okay. Any other questions for Tony? Okay, moving on to item F, Open Space Committee. Jen?
Yep, so we met on the 8th, and we continued where we left off on maintenance. We are continuing just to finalize some maintenance on the Grosky barn, and the Yeti program is going to be helping us in the spring. If you remember, they came up before us. They're going to help do some improvements and paint the barn, make it look pretty again for those goats. Dave LaValle, thanks to Dave LaValle, he put up a new sign at Novix. That one was getting faded, so that looks nice and sharp. We also discussed the plans for the Pleasant Street barn, which is going to be moving forward and should be starting in the spring, Chris? Yeah. So that area, as I've mentioned, is going to be a really great area, vibrant for everybody in the community. And then we also just touched on an initiative that I think we'll continue to talk about, which is updating our marketing. Now that the town website's updated, we kind of have to update that old video that's on there and some other things, spruce that up. And finally, you will hear this in the town manager's report and communications, but I would just like to talk a little bit about 821 South End Road, and I will just read my letter that I submitted to Planning and Zoning in support of this. As you know, the Open Space Land Acquisition Committee has been tasked with acquiring and preserving land that reflects Southington's agricultural and historical heritage. After careful consideration, our committee unanimously voted to move forward with the purchase of the parcel that holds significant historical value. Over the past several years, we've collected and collaborated with the Southington Historical Society and the Barnes Museum to document the importance of the root cellar located on this property. This effort included creating a detailed storyboard to highlight its historical relevance. We are pleased to share that Mr. Curtis has agreed to sell this land, allowing the town to preserve this historically significant area in perpetuity. This acquisition is critical for several reasons. One, recognition of Southington's pro-abolition history. Two, preservation of the Curtis open space parcel's integrity by including the root cellar. And three, protecting against future removal or loss of this historical feature. To complete the transaction, a land swap was required to ensure compliance with zoning regulations, and an agreement has been reached between Mr. Curtis and the town pending your approval. My final statement on this is been 8 years of a project, and this is the final piece of the puzzle. And it's near and dear to my heart because so many people collaborated and came together in our community to make this what it is, and I thank every single one of them. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any questions on open space or the action item that's on the agenda for later today?
Will we be able to take a tour of the area?
Yes, I will
I would love that.
personally give you a tour.
Love it.
Absolutely. Okay. Item G, Elementary School Roof Committee. Josh?
So on December 23rd, we met at the Municipal Center, myself and Chris, to review the bids for the architectural services related to the roof replacements that was approved in the referendum. It was a very quick and efficient meeting, which was nice. So for Hatton and Strong Schools, we awarded the bid to Silver Petroselli and Associates for $38,000, and then Thalberg went to Hibbard, Rosa, and Architects for $39,800. Those are the two bidders, and they were the lowest bids on all of the schools. We broke up the bids, and then we briefly discussed possibly adding solar panels to them once they're complete, the Hatton already has solar panels on the school, so that was discussed about having to take them off and then put them back on. And we'll get another update when the chair calls the meeting.
Excellent.
Anything you want to add?
Just one thing to add. Josh is pretty thorough. Just for transparency for the public too, the panels at Hatton are part of a PPA, which means we don't own those panels. Unlike the high school that I just discussed earlier, where we are outright purchasing those. So because of that, the town is responsible for the cost associated with removing them, putting them back on, and any power generation lost during that time. So again, because we don't own them, it's a little different, so it's just important to note that. Otherwise, I think everything else is pretty much spot on.
Excellent. Anybody else have questions on the elementary school roof committee? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to item 5, Town Manager's Report and Communications. Item A, Report of the Board of Finance for December 10th, 2025 and December 30th, 2025. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Finance met for their regular meeting on the 10th of December, and most of the meeting revolved around a presentation by our self-insurance consultant, Joseph Spurgeon, to educate the entire Board of Finance on self-insurance. As you're aware, there was a committee in the past, so right now I believe the Board of Finance will meet quarterly to discuss self-insurance and do a deep dive on it. And the meeting was predominantly about self-insurance. There was discussion about the votes that needed to be taken for the budget, and they decided to hold a special meeting on the 30th of December 2025, where the consultant came again, and the Board of Finance voted on a preliminary budget for self-insurance, and they voted on the budget, and they adopted the use of some reserve funds, but they're reserving the right to go back in March before the town council adopts its budget to possibly use more reserve funds depending on how the projections look. I'm happy to say we do have 2 esteemed members of the Board of Finance in the audience. If you have any questions at the end of the meeting, I'm sure they'd give you much more detail than I have. But one thing I did want to point out is a lot of folks on this dais have reached out to me and talked to me about minutes, and I see Mr. Perry's in the background. He's been a big proponent of getting the minutes done really well. Take a look at the 12:30 minutes, or Mitch Gugliotti, myself, and David Norris are piloting a new AI transcription software. It's not perfect, but I think you'll like a lot of what you see. It's verbatim. It took me about 18 minutes to clean the minutes up from how they were spit out of the computer to what you see there, and that was just done on my laptop, my small laptop in the corner of the room. So I did send them out to the Board of Finance a week or so ago, asked if they liked them. I didn't get any response. I asked if they objected to them. I got no responses back from the esteemed members, so I assume they like them, and I'm hoping that this board likes them, and hopefully within the next year or so, more town meetings will get better quality verbatim minutes. That's the goal. It's not inexpensive, but we're working to make it inexpensive. Any questions on Board of Finance?
No question. Anybody have questions on Board of Finance? Since you opened Pandora's box, I'm going to just add on to it. I have had discussion with the town manager and also Vice Chair Clark, who's heading up the technology subcommittee. And my hope is that this council will have, from the technology subcommittee, some ideas. I know that Mitch is already working on some of it, about how we can improve the technology, especially at Town Hall, not municipal center, although it would be good to have a proposal for here as well. But something for improving the audio and video at Town Hall. It is archaic. And the video is just, I mean, we have a camera that somebody is like doing this off to the side. It's just, I mean, it's time. And the audio is terrible. If somebody turns slightly away from the microphone, you can't hear anything. And that's just unacceptable for town meetings. And then on top of that, you know, using the Microsoft platform or other platforms, you know, our subcommittees should be able, when we have a subcommittee meeting, either the lead staff person or the chairperson, somebody should have access to something like the AI tool where we can log in and have this recorded, stored, and also have the minutes available. And, you know, these also allow for remote participation quite easily as well. So looking for some proposals that this council and the Board of Finance can consider when it comes to budget reallocation time to see if there's some one-time funds that we might be able to use to upgrade our technology at both Town Hall and Municipal Center, and for some of the meeting rooms and for some of the subcommittee meetings, so that we can ensure that we take a step forward in some of these areas utilizing technology. Thanks, Mr. Town Manager. Item B, town website, transition to southington.gov.
So a lot of comments came to my office. I got several calls about why is the town in spending money changing its domain of its website. And to be quite frank, it's a state of Connecticut requirement that all municipal websites have a .gov by 2027. And there's really, really good reasons behind it. Right now, the .orgs, I'm not going to pretend to understand it, but people can take them, they can grab them. Mitch Gugliotti actually had to send in his U.S. passport for us to apply to get the .gov from the United States government. So there's a lot of security features, so we own it. No one's going to steal it from us easily, at least. So that was the impetus for the change of the website. The old email addresses are still, as long as I believe, forever going to point to the new email addresses. Everything should continue to point there. The new website does look a lot sharper. It's blue, Southington Blue Night Blue. If you have feedback, please let me know. Something that the town council has asked for about 9 months now is a more of an easier way for the public to send in input in suggestions and reporting. So there's a new form in there where it's highlighted right in the front. You can go in there, dump in your email address, your phone number. What do you see? There's a drop down. Is it a pothole? Is it an employee compliment? Is it you don't like the color of the paint in this room? And it gets routed to the right person. We're working really hard to try to make it a registered system, so you actually have to get an email back and then click the link to like activate the email, because we suspect we're going to get a ton of bots and spam where people are just sending in anonymous crazy. So we're going to hopefully get it to, at least you have to go through the process of setting up a fake email address to send your crazy note to us. So we're working on that with the Google integration, which is a few months out. So I'm hoping you like it. If you have any feedback on the website, shoot me an email, shoot Mr. Gugliotti an email, and we will look at it. And the technology subcommittee, something that they've been pushing is the website redesign. So they're also going to take a look at it at their subcommittee meeting this month, end of this month, the 30th.
The 30th.
Yep.
I'd just like to
Yeah, please,
I'd
Tony.
just like to congratulate on the look and feel of the website, especially as it pertains to mobile users. Obviously, it's a far more mobile friendly. You know, the old one looked like, I don't know, a mainframe capability. This is far better for mobile
You actually
users.
couldn't see the news, a lot of the news on the old one.
Right.
Paul would call me saying, "Why isn't the website?" I said, "Paul, go on a PC. It's there."
Any other questions for the town manager on website? Okay, item C, Plantsville Pocket Park completion.
Not to completely reiterate everything Mr. Del Santo said, but the pocket park is complete. The one thing he did leave out is that we completed it at about 50% of the budget, which is the best news so far. We do have to throw the grass seed down in the spring, but otherwise it looks phenomenal.
Any questions on the Pocket Park? Dave?
Just a quick one. Any benches in there will be for sale to get a plaque to commemorate someone like we did in the downtown?
We actually already put them in. Typically, you have to buy a whole bench, but if folks do want to get a bench, have them call me. I can sure put one there and put another one somewhere else. And if they
Okay,
want it there, we have
The
availability.
ones that are there are already taken, is what you're telling me?
There's no
they're
names
not-
on
The
them.
town self-funded all those with the picnic tables as well.
Okay, very good,
But if
thank
you
you.
want to put something there, give me a call. We can probably take that one, put another one somewhere, and put the name and the park if they want. No objection.
And if we can just take a note, Alex, to double check in the spring when we do the grass seed at the park, that we were storing our equipment and storing the curbing. Centennial Park, is that what it's called?
Grove Street?
Yes, on Grove Street. That has washed out a couple times. I know we reseeded it in the fall. It was a little late. If we can just double check that doesn't need, it might need a little bit of topsoil thrown down and redone in the early spring, I would appreciate that, because I have had a couple follow-ups on that. Okay. Item D, EMPG resolution, once again.
This is an annual resolution that you vote on every year in your January meeting. It allows me to apply for typically it's $5,000 emergency management grant. We use that to offset the stipend for our emergency management director. And same exact resolution that Ms. Clerk Larkin prepares, and it's in your packet as well.
Any questions on the EMPG resolution? Dave?
Just for clarification, the text is the same as it was last year? No changes?
As far as I know, the last 15 or so years,
Okay, very good, thank you.
except for the date. The date gets updated.
Okay, any other questions on EMPG? Hearing none. Item 3, Seed Committee and Tax Abatement Recommendations.
So these are formalities. If you're not aware, Stellington participates in the enterprise zone with the state of Connecticut, and what that does is Clerk Larkin gets some additional conveyance tax fees from every conveyance tax that she collects. But on the flip side, there's certain zones in town that if people build in those towns, they get as-of-right tax abatement. So there are two in your packet, two phenomenal additions. The first is Lazy Lane Industrial Associates. If you've driven by Lazy Lane around SRS by the police station, you'll see a 6 or 8 bay commercial building. It's put up by Mr. Munson and Mr. Dessel. They've been working on it for several years. I believe it is almost at completion. The estimated property value is $975,000, and this is a 7-year tax abatement and I'll list out the years, 100%, 100%, 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. There is no reimbursement from the state of Connecticut on this, but it is as of right. The second one is for Namtech Industries. This is at 250 West Queen Street and 25 Sepco Farm Drive. It's for a 10,800 square foot facility. Estimated investment of $1.62 million. There's also going to be additional commercial vehicle registrations added to this facility. Again, same, and then that's at the 25 Sepco Farm. At the 250 West Queen, it's going to be a $1.98 million contractor for flex units. So almost the same thing on Lazy Lane, but this is going to be on West Queen, $1.98 million. Again, the same 7-year tax abatements. And there's one final one. This one's exciting. This is on Town Line Road for BMS Aerospace. This company recently merged with AccuCut. If you've ever driven down there by the small engine store, they're putting on a 15,000 square foot addition to their building. They're doing some very, very highly secretive cutting edge technology for the government. So they pushed through this building very, very quickly in the fall. And it's just something that the federal government contacted us and asked us to kind of help out with them. No favors, but we just made sure that, it was taken care of when they called. And the new building is $1.7 million, and the purchase equipment is about $2 million. For those of you who don't know, most of the manufacturing equipment is tax exempt, so that $2 million we don't get anything of it for the 1.7 we do. This is a 5-year, 80% tax abatement for both real and personal property. This is a 50% reimbursement to the town, and it's also in the enterprise zone as well. And happy to talk about those if anybody has any questions.
Anybody have any questions about the tax abatement recommendations? Okay, hearing none, move on to item F, Historical Society roof bid recommendation for award.
So I'll preface this with, this was in the capital budget for the current fiscal year, so this is something we've been planning on doing for almost a year now. The original money that the Board of Finance and the Town Council appropriated was about $189,000. Very, very, very happy to report that we're almost at a quarter of that cost when the bids came in. The engineering department did a very, they used a novel thing. They used a work project manager, and that information's actually in your packet, where the manager went out to bid for us, did specify the requirements, and got us 3 very competitive bids. The engineering department is recommending Marcy Roofing at 36 Duffy Avenue, Meriden, for a purchase price of $50,000. All the information is in your packet. Happy to answer any questions. If you did have questions on why we're doing it, the Historical Society has been suffering, and we do have a member of the Historical Society in the audience if we do need more information, has been suffering a lot of roof leaks. This is almost just like the elementary school roofs. They've been trying to patch them, and they're coming in, and the roof is very, very old. This is a town building. It is not a town-controlled entity. We just, almost like Southington Community Theater, we provide the building, we provide the capital improvements, but the organizations handle the day-to-day running of the actual organizations themselves.
Anybody have questions on the Historical Society? Alex, can you please repeat, we received the bids in the packet, but I don't think we have a letter on this one with a recommendation. At least I can't find it. If you can just repeat who the
Yep.
bid is and what it's for.
Marcy Roofing for $50,000. That is the recommendation from the engineering department.
And does that include a reserve
Contingency,
or a contingency?
let me take a quick peek. No contingency necessary. This was through the project that we went through. It's the state of Connecticut. I'm sorry. There's a $5,000 contingency, so $55,000.
It's 55?
Yep, $50,000 base with a $5,000 contingency.
Okay. So 55,000 including contingency.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Dave?
I know I've asked this question before, but it seems like the lowest bidder is quite a bit lower, almost to the point where I've questioned the amount of square feet. I mean, the next closest one is more than double. Is something not, am I not seeing something here?
Well, we see there's 64,000, 69,000.
Yes, but if you look at the amount per, dollars per square foot that's underneath him, something's not adding up there correctly. I don't think.
So if you look at the last document in the packet from the Garland Company, and this is a state program, the specs are in that state program. So they've got to install pursuant to that. The building department will be inspecting it. It comes with a GAF warranty. So the GAF they're a certified installer. They have to, even if they don't do the spec, the GAF still, the GAF, I don't know how GAF or GAF, they still provide the same warranty.
I just wanted to make sure we're comparing apples to apples here.
Yeah, there's a spec sheet.
Alex, if you can just take a look between now and the time we let's make sure the paperwork, that the cost per square foot is accurately reflected on these and that we've got
Absolutely.
the full amount here before we get to, old business.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, we can also wait one meeting if needed.
We can.
Okay, so we'll take that up at the, old business part. Thanks, Dave, for bringing it up.
No problem. What I do.
Okay, item G, report of section 8-24 recommendation from planning and zoning for 821 South End Road, which we just heard from the vice chair a little bit early on.
So I won't steal the Open Space Committee's thunder. I'll let Mr. Palmera and Mrs. Clock elaborate if they'd like. The one thing I will state is typically we go into executive session for a lot of these open space purchases. I think it was the open spaces, in my recommendation, this is something we've been working on for 8 years. It was more of a land swap, not a purchase. Up till 2 years ago, that we were so far apart in pricing. We don't have a contract, so when you look at this, it's gonna be to authorize me to enter into a purchase and sale agreement to effectuate the agreement. When you look at the map that's included in the packet, you're gonna wonder why are we doing a land swap, not just a purchase? It's because this, if we just did the purchase, it would render the current property that Mr. Curtis owns as non-compliant. And the town is not in the business of creating non-compliance on its own. So we wanted to make sure that we kept him in compliance, almost just like the Bank of America parking lot we did. We made sure, while we wanted to make sure that we did everything by the book. So that's the technical backstory. I'm not sure if Chris or Jen want to kind of elaborate into the history, if they'd like.
Yeah.
Jen?
No, I think you kind of summarized it well. It's been a long process.
The only thing that I'll add to that is the $15,000, yes, it's a land swap, but the land that we're gaining is much more accessible and usable for residents than the land we're trading. So it's an added benefit as well.
Right. Yes, and also the root cellar is located on the
Yeah,
land.
piece of land, right.
Yeah, for those who are looking at the parcel, the rear of the parcel is the piece that we're acquiring and swapping with a piece that's on the south side of the property, or as you're looking at it from the road, it's on the right-hand side of the property. Okay? Item H, 22 Main Street, parking lot improvements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As everyone's aware, we did close on the Bank of America property at the end of last year. The second phase of this was the first phase was to secure the parking, and the second phase is, can we expand and get a little bit more parking from the land that we now own and the land that we control? The engineering department did a mock-up, and in your packet, you'll see where they've highlighted a couple additional spots they'd like to put in with some parking adjustments and moving some islands and shrinking some islands. I'm asking that the town council refer this matter to the parking authority to provide a recommendation back to you. Their meeting's already scheduled, so I hope you do refer it to them, because they're planning on meeting next week.
So in everybody's packet, there's a handout here, and what you'll see is that basically the double lane from the old Bank of America building that passed through the municipal lot and went out onto the road at the town green. The proposal is to shrink that to one lane and have it one way. It's one way now. Shrink that, move some of the islands into the lane that we would close, which we then could realize an additional 12 parking spots. So each new parking spot, as shown in your packet, is denoted with a dot. So you'll see a round dot where a new parking spot could be created with the proposed change. And so we're asking the council later under old businesses to just refer this to the parking authority to take this up. Hopefully they approve it, or they approve some version of it, so that we can begin the process to add additional parking there. Or not, if they decide that it's not worth it. Okay.
And it's not on the agenda, but just for the public's information, the annual ethics board meeting will be January 21st, 4 p.m. in the finance conference room. So it's an annual meeting under the charter. They have to meet. There's no business other than electing a chairman, vice chairperson, and adopting a meeting schedule. But if the public would like, they're welcome to attend.
Any other questions?
Just quickly, so
Tony?
how many additional, sorry, not additional, but how many in total parking spaces have we got on that property now? If the parking authority approves that?
We were approximately a little over 80 originally,
Maybe 90?
80, 90. So about hitting close to 100.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thanks.
Okay, and on the Historical Society roof bid under item F in our packet, I see the notation here. The reason that it's significantly lower, Dave, is because there is an allowance in here of $6.50 per square foot. That's an in-kind service that this Macri, M-A-C-R-I, Macri Roofing is providing at no charge to replace damaged wood blocking in kind. So that's a good thing. And I did notice in some of the other ones, it's in the description, so they must have asked for it in the bid. This one is in kind. So I think we should be good to go on that one. Okay. Any other questions for the town manager? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to, we're going to skip the town attorney's report because the town attorney is not here. We'll move on to public communications. If there's anybody here who would like to speak, come on up and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Jack Perry, 153 Moore Drive in Southington. Want to first congratulate the 3 new council members on your election and serving the town of Southington. Thank you for stepping up. Just wanted to quickly chat. I wasn't going to talk this evening, but like I told everybody, I'm going to stay involved and engaged in our community. It's where I grew up. I like to help and support in any way that I possibly can. So Mrs. Gaida mentioned the training needed with the sewer department. As a former council person, that has not been brought up to the council. So Councilman Morrison has failed to do that as a chairperson, and I think it's very important that the chair takes responsibility and obviously recognizes it and not does the petty stuff. Like the going back and forth, it's just off-putting, and it just needs to be addressed. So, you know, just to talk a little bit about the sewer, it's also important to highlight that the sewer committee for a long time was only charging 1% per month and not the 1.5%. So that's 6% per year. You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money. So when I hear comments that it's not a fiscal concern, no cash issues, then open up your checkbook and you write the check and you could handle that. Like that's what the tax liens are all about, is they go out for tax liens, and at that point in time, you know, it's not the taxpayers' money anymore, because, again, that's how our mill rates are set. I would strongly recommend the council getting a presentation about what these issues are. These are not a small dollar amount, and when I look back at the council the sewer committee meeting minutes, there's no discussion of this. So if Councilwoman Gaida didn't bring it up this evening, it's not reflected in the meeting minutes, which gets back to what our town manager stated. You know, I've been very persistent on making sure that meeting minutes are verbatim, they're taken. It's 2026 now. There's no reason that things aren't verbatim. There should be no confusion and all that. So, Mrs. Gaida, thank you for bringing it up this evening. I think it's very important that, you know, it's discussed. And then last but not least, you know, I heard there's some concerns on chalk on, you know, the town trail. At the end of the day, if it's not hate, you know, it's not bad speech, it's freedom of speech, as long as they're being respectful. And when I went down to the one that was near Factory Square, it was all love, peace. It was all good, humble things that you would teach your kids. So I would just be very careful on that. That's all. Thank you.
Regina Colbiello. Regina Colbiello, 12 Beecher Street. I'm going to just kind of quickly read through everything and that. Hello, everyone. I haven't been here since before the election. I have wanted to, but just haven't been feeling good, but also the guts to say what I wanted to say. That's the reason so many don't come and speak at the town meetings. However, as a 60-year resident, I need and have a right to speak, something I didn't do until a few years ago. There were even times I was told to keep quiet, which I regret now. It has always been about names and who you know in this town. And yes, I will say it again, the good old boys and girls. Then a few years ago, I decided to become more active to help people in the community. At the time, I was unaffiliated. I registered as a Democrat because of some that were running I highly respected for speaking up and helping people. I started going to different town meetings and speaking up. I was honored when I was chosen to be a member of the DTC committee and also a member of the Fair Rent Commission. I was also part of a subcommittee for changing tax exemptions to help people. All I have ever wanted to do is to help people. Both party leaderships, I'm just going to say it, and there's other people that think the same. Not all of you, okay, but both party leaderships are run by puppet masters, and if you don't do what you're told, they will cut your strings. That is what happened to me this week. Without even a phone call, I and other good people were pulled from the DTC committee instead of adding members. Talk about disrespect. I know why I was pulled. I had been told not to talk to certain people who were my friends in the other party, which I said wasn't going to happen. I don't care what party you're in. I would ask questions about actions or votes that our representatives made, which they would make me stop talking and not answer. I don't care who you are or what party you're in. You need to be accountable for your actions, and as residents, we have the right to know the answers. I use the word purple a lot and have been asked why. Purple to me is not Democrat blue or Republican red. It's working together to make purple. Everyone has their rights and beliefs, but no one should outweigh others. There needs to be more compromise for all people, not for selected people or groups. With all that I have just said, I no longer want to be a part of the Fair Rent Commission or any subcommittees until there is going to be actual compromise and respect. To the residents of Southington, you need to pay attention and watch what happens more carefully to those who lie in both parties or do not do what they are told. And on a good note, I am ending this on a good note. Sorry. One last thing that is good about our town. Bread for Life and community service. You and your volunteers are awesome. And there's also foundations that support them. They are also awesome too. And I give my utmost respect to all those volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Richard Cooper, 79 Barbara Lane. I have a question. I know you guys don't do the back and forths, and if you don't answer it, you don't answer it. But I have just a little bit of confusion about the tax abatements that you just discussed. From my understanding, tax abatements are only supposed to be given if it, they directly benefit like the collective of the town and provide jobs for people who live in the town. So I would just ask, of course, you don't have to answer, but will any of those businesses receiving tax abatements be bringing jobs into the town? And also, I'm just curious, do they have the right to have that with just inherently? That's sort of what it sounded like.
Sure, that's a good question. Yeah, they are. It is a state program, so this is the what's called the enterprise zone. And there is state legislation that requires municipalities to give tax abatements, and there is information on these in our packets about jobs, so we know the value of the business, how much they're expanding, so how much they're spending in town. I think one of them was like 1.6 million, and the other one was about 900 or almost a million. And then they also detail how many jobs they're bringing to town as a result of the increase in the capacity or the facility, whatever it is they're building. So I don't know, did you want to say any more about that, Alex?
I'm happy to provide Mr. Cooper the actual docs. I'll bring them over to you in a minute.
Yeah.
You can kind of
Well,
get more information. I
it's-
have them, so I'll give them to you.
It's okay, but like, just, and not like, I'm not doing this to be difficult. I genuinely want to, like, I'm curious, like, you don't even have to answer it, but like, jobs for people who live in Southington, will those be created by these tax abatements? And it's okay if you don't
Yes.
want to,
Yes, I mean, they will, the jobs will obviously reside in Southington, but they're not guaranteed for Southington people, of course, you know.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. And guys, just one last thing, okay? I think it was very brave of what Sober for Southington did coming here, and, you know, being a champion for people who don't have a voice. I think that's fantastic. But I would just end with a plea. It's wonderful to support groups like that, but I would really love to see something in the budget to directly help people struggling with any type of substance abuse or even mental health. Funding that would provide something in town, you know, just easier access to treatment, stable housing, stuff like that. I know we're not going to have a back and forth on that right now, but that's the notes I will leave on. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming out.
Dr. Laura Triano, 61 Russell Road. I just had a few comments. The first is regarding the discussion of the Public Works Committee meeting. I actually attended it last week. And just a point of clarification for anyone who's listening and perhaps some individuals who are on the dais. Every municipality in the state of Connecticut has a local traffic authority, or LTA, and this individual, their specific role is to work directly with the Connecticut Department of Transportation to address any traffic and safety issues on state roads in any city or town. In some municipalities, the LTA is a mayor, an engineer, a town planner. In Southington, it's technically the Board of Police Commissioners. The point of contact is the chief of police, who in turn has delegated and collaborates with some of his very capable staff members in the traffic division. And so the issue that was brought up about crosswalks in Clark Street actually goes back a number of years. This is relevant because those of us who live in Milldale have 3 state roads that run through our area of town, and Clark Street is one of them. And about 3 years ago, a resident had reached out to the local traffic authority and then the officer in the traffic division about putting a crosswalk somewhere on Clark Street. There were some retirements and other staff changes in the interim, and kind of nobody knew what happened. And so because there's an ongoing need, this was brought up again, actually at the Public Works Committee last year, I believe in May, and there was no follow-through. And actually about 16 members of my street in Milldale met with designees of the police chief last summer to discuss these specific issues relating to state roads, and we've had ongoing contact. So that point of clarification, the suggestion, it made it sound like this was something the chief had never heard of because this was something unreasonable that was being requested. Within 48 hours of that meeting, all of that was clarified with the officer that he's appointed in the traffic division, who's actually been working very closely with the Department of Transportation since last summer and updating all of us in the neighborhood. And we appreciate that, and we also appreciate Mr. Zoni's willingness to continue to work with us about these unique issues involving state roads that are in our neighborhood. And the second point is regarding transparency and accuracy of meeting minutes for this council, as well as other boards, commissions, subcommittees. And I know, and perhaps the town manager can clarify further, my understanding is that the Public Works Committee was among the subcommittees that were identified as part of your pilot program to utilize some type of transcript generating software. For reasons that aren't clear, the Public Works Committee has actually abandoned using that AI-generated transcript as its meeting minutes and has gone back to a summary. And so I think in the interest of transparency and consistency, perhaps it would be helpful to have a unified procedure. And in the absence of that, perhaps the audio recordings that are being generated can also be put on the town website, just as these video recordings are. Thank you.
Marie Perry, 38 Russell Road, Milldale. I know there's a lot of talk going on with the graffiti that gets put on sidewalks with chalk. Well, I walk over something that's graffiti quite often, and it's not done with chalk. And it's been there for a very long time, and some of the council members have also gotten the pictures of what was on the sidewalks. So needless to say, we're worrying about chalk on sidewalks. But I've been walking the trail, and the biggest thing that bothers me, I can walk over that chalk. I can't walk over dog poop that's been all over. It's terrible. It's on all of the paved area. They don't even move their dogs to the side. There needs to be something, and the worst part is from Plantsville Center to West Street, or West Center Street. You can't walk 20 feet without having to walk around dog poop. And it's disgusting. I walked the part in Milldale without any dog poop. And there's plenty of dogs that are walking. But you walk in the center of Southington, and it's full of dog poop. So something needs to be done. It's not very nice to have somebody come out of town and you walk the trail and you have to dodge the dog poop. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else? Last time? Okay. We will close public communications and we will move on to item 8, old business. Action on report of the Board of Finance for December 10th, 2025 and December 30th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Mike and a second from Tony. Any discussion?
Is this for both at the same, we're approving both at the same time?
Yeah.
All right, I just want to know, my concern, I know the December 30th meeting was really geared towards the self-insurance increase, approximately 2.9 million, which is a 1.54% increase in the budget alone. We voiced our concerns about not having the self-insurance committee, and this is just, this is concerning that already we're having that. And I know it was mentioned the Board of Finance is going to meet more regularly, but again, it's concerning that that much of an increase has already taken place.
Chris, do you think the Self-Insurance Committee was going to have a lower increase in the rate?
I think the self-insurance committee was charged with monitoring things a little bit more closely, and that was its purpose, and there is no self-insurance committee.
So we have Board of Finance members here who sit on the Board of Finance and heard the very first self-insurance meeting at the Board of Finance meeting. So are you saying you don't trust the elected members of the Board of Finance to handle the self-insurance numbers? I'm unsure.
Don't put words in my mouth. I
Well,
didn't
Chris,
say
you're
I
the
don't
one who's
trust
actually,
members of the Board of
Chris,
Finance.
you're
I didn't say that.
insinuating that the
I'm
lack of
saying-
self-insurance committee, because it was dissolved, caused an increase in the health spend of the town's employees.
I'm
That's what you're
saying,
insinuating.
I'm sharing my concern. It was voiced here, and I do believe that having a self-insurance committee with representation from both sides, especially considering 3/4 of the budget comes from the Board of Ed's side of the town,
Which is you.
it's important.
That's you, Chris. You're a Board of Ed member, right?
I was not on the self-insurance committee, Paul.
But we have two members of the Board of Finance here. Would you like that? We can ask them to come up and talk if you would like. And we have a Republican and a Democrat Board of Finance member here today.
That's fine. That's
Would
fine.
you like to ask some questions?
Sure.
We have Katie Wade and Mr. Pocock. Did you want to come up and give a quick update on self-insurance and maybe help clarify? Okay, so, sounds like Katie's going to come up and give us a quick primer. I know we had the paid expert for self-insurance who gave the presentation.
Hi. Yeah, Joe Spurgeon was at the last meeting. Looks like the increase is in line with what's expected. I think we had Jen Mellett at the last meeting. I don't think it would be a bad idea if a member of town council wanted to come to our quarterly meetings, maybe 2 members when we do self-insurance, if you want to feel like, you know, there's a more of a committee feel and more oversight to it. But my understanding is simply that there wasn't quorum when business needed to be done. So
Basically set up a self-insurance committee.
we basically set up a self-insurance committee, but we're doing
At the
it
Board of
during-
Finance.
At the Board of Finance during the meetings. Joe Spurgeon was there, Jen Mellett was there. So I would encourage.
Mr. Chair.
This was the actual proposal that we made when we decided not to have a town council subcommittee, but a Board of Finance committee that led it. Mr. Town Manager.
Also, the chairman has also asked us to invite the resident who's on the self-insurance committee to come to all of the quarterly meetings. Sal.
Yes.
Sal.
Sal, I don't know because I
apologize,
was not on the committee.
I saw
but,
Sal, and
yeah,
he's been
he had
Is
apparently
also
was
gonna be at every
very
quarterly meeting.
informative. So,
correct.
yeah, and if you have any concerns about it, anyone, feel free to come.
Chairman?
Please.
Yeah, I just want to say, the point you made. The reason we disbanded the self-insurance committee and moved it to the body of the Board of Finance, one of the main reasons, was the last time we had a self-insurance meeting was April of last year. We're supposed to meet monthly, but we could never get a quorum. As I was vice chair, I often, became chair and tried to get a quorum, and I was unsuccessful because people didn't show up. People from various places didn't show up. And it was really frustrating. So we can't have a self-insurance committee that doesn't meet. Now, I don't know why that was the case. If we'd have continued with it, we'd probably have different members or something. But that was the case. So the idea was to turn it over to an elected board that does meet, which talks about finances. That's where the responsibility should lie. And there's other reasons too, but that was a major reason. So there was no oversight, if that's what you want to call, from April onwards. And secondly, I think the self-insurance thing brings up a much wider subject, which is we had $3 million increase. How can we avoid that going forward? There are ways to do that by moving out of self-insurance to something else. And I'm starting seriously to think that we should start talking about that. But again, that's the Board of Finance.
We did discuss that a little bit at Board of Finance,
Oh,
and I
good.
would say, Chris, that the instinct to kind of keep an eye on self-insurance is a good one because there is it's complicated and it's it's worth looking into, as Tony said, like changing that and how we're using the money. So,
And the reason the self-insurance didn't discuss that was because it was going to be on our agenda for May, and we never discussed it. So that's why it's great to have it on the Board of Finance.
Thank you.
Can I?
Okay. Thank you. Jen.
So yeah, I also served on self-insurance for 2 years, and I agree on one of the issues was quorum, but I always felt that it fell more in line with the Board of Finance because ultimately you have professionals with financial backgrounds on Board of Finance. And I was very encouraged when I read the minutes, and I did notice a difference in the minutes because they were very detailed, and I was very encouraged reading through them about, suggestions and the path forward. I don't think that having a self-insurance committee out of the town council would make any difference whatsoever. But that's my opinion just from my background, so I just wanted to share that.
Okay. The other point is, I know we've talked in the past about looking at the state option for insurance. I'd like us to revisit that. Things have changed. And potentially now there could be savings if we shift away from the self-insurance model to more of the state model. Again, there's been changes over the years since we adopted that. So the town manager and I have discussed that a little bit. I'd suggest we look into that option as well.
We've had that discussion with the chair of the Board of Finance, and the Board of Finance plans to continue to take a look at that as an option. Okay. I'm glad to see that it's getting the focus at the Board of Finance that it needs, instead of not having people show up, for the subcommittee. We know that we'll have 6 Board of Finance members every other month that will hear about self-insurance. And I'm really excited that the extra scrutiny will hopefully bring the self-insurance information a little bit more to light and keep the costs as low as they can. So we have a motion and a second on the actions of the Board of Finance for the 12/10/2025, 12/30, 12/25. Any further discussion?
Is there a way to separate those two?
Sure, I'll take.
Sure, you want to, well, let's do, so do we want to remove the motion or modify your motion?
I'll modify my motion just for December 10th, 2025.
I'll second.
Who made the original second motion? I think it was Tony.
Tony.
Yeah,
Tony?
I did, yes.
Would you modify your second?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. Since we had a,
Fine.
yep. Okay, so the motion, the amended motion here is to approve the report of the Board of Finance for December 10th, 2025. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Jim. Okay, we'll now look for a motion for the action on the report of Board of Finance for December 30th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mike, and a second from Tony. Any further discussion on that? Dave, did you want to have some discussion? I mean, you sure? Okay. Okay. All in favor? Why don't we call the roll, Dave, since I know you're talking to your colleagues there about this. Why don't you give you some more time? Madam Clerk, call the roll on this one.
Del Santo,
Yes.
Gaeta,
No.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri,
No.
Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
No.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, the motion passes 6-3. Okay, action on EMPG resolution.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second from Councilwoman Gaeta. The motion's from Mr. Del Santo. Any discussion on that? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Del Santo,
Yes.
Gaeta,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, the motion passes unanimously. Item C, action on sewer committee recommendation for South End Pump Station barrier replacement. I'm looking for a motion to approve Kovacs Construction in the amount of $136,000 as presented in the packet.
So moved.
Second.
Wasn't there other things that were supposed to be approved with that just besides?
No. No, there wasn't.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? Madam Clerk, call the roll on approving Kovacs Construction for $136,000.
Del Santo,
Yes.
Gaeta,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Item D, action on sewer committee recommendations for clarifier gunite repair proposal at the Water Pollution Control Plant. Looking for a motion for approval of PIM Corporation in the amount of $79,640, including a 10%, which includes a 10% contingency.
Motion to approve for PIM.
Second.
Motion from Mike and a second from Councilman Zoni. Any discussion on PIM Corporation?
PIM.
PIM.
I thought you were
Pim.
saying PIM.
PIM.
Sorry.
PIM.
It's a different job.
Pam.
Pim.
Pamina. It's Pam. You went over your head. Okay. Any further discussion on the item D? Madam Clerk, call the roll to approve PIM Corporation for $79,640.
Del Santo,
Yes.
Gaida,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri, Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion passes unanimously, yes. Item E, action on sewer committee recommendations for SCADA server infrastructure upgrade. We're looking for a motion to approve tie-in bond in the amount of $49,500.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Mike and a second from Josh. Discussion on SCADA server infrastructure upgrade? Okay, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please, for tie-in bond, $49,500.
Del Santo.
Yes.
Gaida,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Item F, action on revised sewer service area map for the town of Southington, which also needs to be recorded with DEEP.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the map that was provided in our packet during the sewer update. Any discussion on that? Nope. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Del Santo.
Yes.
Gaida,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Item G, action on sewer committee recommended water pollution control plan, which should include a letter from the council to DEEP.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gaida with the motion, Mr. Del Santo with the motion, and Mr. Del Santo for the second. Any discussion on the,
Yes, we would need, we also need all the members of the town council to sign that, correct?
I'm not signing anything. I'm joking.
All the members except
punchy.
for
Yeah.
Mike Del Santo.
okay,
Did we sign it tonight, or do you want to come up with?
so Lara,
I'll have Lara Colgrove coordinate signatures.
Yeah,
We'll get it out to you. We don't need to.
How about electronic signatures? I could buy a house with an electronic signature, right? You can't sign the sewer thing?
Actually,
We can.
We
Actually, you
can.
can.
Let's do it. Come on.
We will use our new Foxit
be-
software and
let's
send
be
electronic.
there we go.
requests.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please, on the control plan.
Del Santo.
Yes.
Gaida,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri, Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Item H, action on seed committee tax abatement recommendations. We should take them, I think, separately. Alex, since they're,
Separately, I don't have them in
I have them right here. So we have three of them. One, the first one is a tax abatement for 182 Lazy Lane in the amount of it's for 182 Lazy Lane.
I'll make a motion to approve. as
Second.
presented.
We have a motion and a second, and just for clarification, it's Lazy Lane Industrial Associates at that address. Any questions on that? Comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Del Santo.
Yes.
Gaida,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion is unanimous. We're also looking for a recommendation on tax abatement for Namtech Industries at 25 Sepco Farm Drive in 250 West Queen.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion from Chris and a second from Mike. Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Del Santo.
Yes.
Gaida,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion is unanimous. We also looking for the third of three tax abatement recommendation for BMS Aerospace at 200 Town Line Road.
Motion to approve is presented.
I'll second.
Motion from Chris, second from,
She got me.
from Councilwoman Gaida. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Del Santo.
Yes.
Gaida,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Serafino,
Yes.
Zoni,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Item I, action on Historical Society roof bid recommendation for award. Looking for a motion to award the bid to Macri Roofing in the amount of $55,000, which includes a 10% contingency.
Motion to approve.
Motion from
Second.
Dave, second from Mike. Any discussion?
As long as they're using shingles and not hay, right? Dave was concerned they're using some other material.
All right.
We'll get on a ladder,
Madam
Dave,
Clerk.
when it's almost done. Go check it out.
Del Santo.
Yes.
Gaeta.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Palmieri.
Yes.
Serafino.
Yes.
Zoni.
Yes.
Clack.
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, the motion passes unanimously. We're looking for item J, action to authorize the town manager to effectuate land swap and purchase of 821 South End Road per the recommendation from PZC, which is, I think, we have the land swap and the purchase part is $15,000.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from the vice chair, second from Tony. Any discussion?
Big thanks to the Curtis family
Oh, yeah.
for allowing Southington's history to be contained and for our youth to learn about how important this area was. Good stuff.
Excellent. Any other discussion? Yes, thank you to the Curtis family. We appreciate you guys and Jen for all your work on this as well. Thank you so much.
Yes, the root cellar.
The roots. Okay. If there's no more discussion, Madam Clerk?
Del Santo.
Yes.
Gaeta.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Palmieri.
Yes.
Serafino.
Yes.
Zoni.
Yes.
Clack.
Yes.
Chaplinsky.
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Item K, we're looking to send 3 items for further investigation to the Ordinance Committee for e-bikes, vandalism, and possible insurance billing for auto accidents with our fire service.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and from Mike, second to Dave to send these 3 to the committee. Any discussion?
Just
Chris?
curious, why are we acting to send something to the committee? You know what I mean? Like generally, we don't, the committee brings recommendations to us. I'm just curious, why are we doing it reverse?
I thought it was the opposite.
I think if the committee has ideas, of course, they can do it, but the thought here was that Tony was going to present these tonight as part of his update, and then the council would have an opportunity to send them formally to
I mean,
the
it's
ordinance
fine. I
committee.
just don't understand why it's here, but that's fine.
You can, it's okay, you don't have to approve it if you'd like. No problem. Okay. Any further discussion? Dave?
Yes. The issue with the e-bikes, I would only ask that the committee, through Alex or whatever, reach out to CCM and find out what other towns have been doing on this issue. You may have already done that, I'm not certain, but I'm certain we're not the only town that
No one's
has
going
this.
to take your e-bike, Dave.
Thank you.
Just love to see.
Well
you.
noted.
Took his Vespa.
There is actually some guidelines that have come, and there are neighboring towns who have put things in place that the committee has seen. But Tony?
Yeah, I was about to say that. We also have guidance from the police department as well, who's we sort of asked the last meeting last year to keep abreast on what's going on in other communities and let us know that. So that will be part of the discussion as well. So.
Okay.
So somewhat unrelated, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind. So I agree wholeheartedly with the constituent that came up and spoke about dog poop. Folks watching at home, pick up after your dogs. I mean, we used to have signs, and we used to actually provide bags, but I imagine. We still have the bags. The bags, can we make sure they're full and some, maybe signage? We can maybe take it up at Public Works. That's ridiculous. People shouldn't have to step over dog shit on the trail.
If you would like to send an additional item for an ordinance review of this, we can do that too.
Well, no, it's just common sense. I don't think we need an ordinance to say to pick up after your dog.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Del Santo.
Sure.
All in favor to send these 3 to committee?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes unanimously. We're looking for item L, action on 22 Main Street parking improvements, referring the proposed map to the Parking Authority for further review and recommendation to council.
I'll make a motion to send that to the Parking Authority, let them do their stuff and get
I'll-
back to us.
I'll second.
Motion from Mike, second from Kristen. Any discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Jim. I'm guessing you approve that. Item M, policy and
I did.
procedure. Thank you, Jim. Item M, policy and procedure update. This is one of the add-ons. Policy and procedure update for the Apple Harvest Committee to add 2 voting members, Mr. David Norris and Mr. DJ Voisin.
So at this point, just a motion to add to our policies and procedures, to add 2 voting members to the Apple Harvest Committee, 1 representative from the Engineering Department and 1 representative from the Recreation Department.
Sounds good. Motion from Chris, second from Dave. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, policies and procedures are updated. Mr. Town Manager, maybe you can give us an updated copy when that's done. Okay, we're going to move on to item 9, new business tax refunds.
I would like to make a motion to approve the tax refunds as presented in our packets.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the tax refunds? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, item B, appointments. We're looking for 2 members of the Housing Authority. That's a town manager's appointment. Both of them are replacements.
Mr. Chairman, I've been given the names of Vincenzo Infante and Michael Gaudio. They are hereby appointed.
Okay. Item 1 is done. Item 2, we are looking for 1 member.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to make a comment. I understand these are appointments from the town manager. I just want to voice my opposition. Now there are no Democratic members sitting on that committee. Again, I shared at our last meeting concerns about boards and commissions and having representation from the minority party on all of these different boards. So we do have a name prepared. I know there were 2 current commissioners that have resigned. One was currently registered a D, one currently registered an R. So we do have a name as well. I understand it's a manager's appointment, but I object to the fact that now there's no Democrat representative on this committee.
Thank you, Chris. There is minority, just for clarification, this is a 5-member board, and the remaining members, there is a minority party representative on this board still. So just to ensure that that's in the record.
But that's not true.
There is a minority representation, Chris. There's an unaffiliate.
That's an unaffiliate.
That
I
is
said
that is called minority representation, Chris.
No, it isn't.
It is. Well, according to the town charter, it says that we need to have a non-Republican,
I understand.
so we have minority representation, Chris.
Your meeting.
You might not, it might be your definition, Chris. I understand. We need to follow the charter. We can't just willy-nilly here. We must follow the town charter. And if you think that we should modify the town charter, we can. But we need to follow the town charter, which we have done.
And I did make a
Okay.
motion to
Thank you, Chris.
don't agree.
Noted. Item 2, South Central Health District. 1 member, 3-year term expiring November 1st, 2028. We have an unaffiliate that was appointed here before. Is there a nomination for anybody?
I reached out to Susan, spoke to her. Joseph Marino is currently serving as an unaffiliate, so she would like him to continue, so it's our pleasure to ask Joe Marino to continue to serve in that position.
Motion for Joe Marino.
Second.
Second. I believe this is a 5-member board as well, Chris? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And is there any other Democrats on that board other than this one?
I didn't
I
want
don't
to
think
throw
so.
off an unaffiliate, Paul.
Yeah, I
You're
don't
not
think
an
so.
unaffiliate. It's a little
Yeah.
different situation.
Okay.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Chris. Just for, Chris,
I could
I
also
wanna
take
make sure
back-
that we're-
If you'd
Let's
like, we
get
could
moving,
take back
guys.
our nomination. We could.
happy to have Mr. Marino stay. I think it's good. Any other discussion about Mr. Marino's appointment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We're looking for Seed Committee, 4 members. Chris, you had 3 members that you wanted to
Yeah, the
nominate?
trouble with this commission, as I think you all know, is they need to hold specific criteria. So, for example, a resident in the zone, which is hard to find. We need a business owner in the zone. The one name I'm pleased to present for consideration, Lucille Casano's position, was a community college representative. So I'm pleased to present the name of Kristen Guida, who serves as the nursing director for the largest nursing program in the Connecticut State Community College system. So again, I believe she would fill that niche of community college representative.
Okay. I think this is a town council chairman's appointment, is that correct?
I think so.
I think we had a similar discussion at the last meeting, Chris, where an elected official cannot be on another board or commission?
There are elected officials already on there.
There are?
Yep.
Who else is on there, Chris?
There's a town council rep on it as well.
Yeah, and Bill Dezek just was the town council rep as well. So I don't know how.
Is
you
this,
have-
the seed committee is this a town,
Committee, it's not a board.
this is a town council subcommittee though, isn't it?
It is not. This is required by state statute for the enterprise zone.
And do they mandate what the requirements are for it, Alex?
They do, and they're listed. I can list them off. It's 13 members, 4-member terms, business community representative, neighborhood organizational representative, town manager.
Okay. So then this is good then. So the state actually mandates what it is?
They mandate the members, not the members' names, but the members' positions who are on this committee, yes.
Perfect, then I think that that's fine then.
And the other concern is there's a position on here, I don't even know what it's for. If it's vacant, I don't know what that vacant position is for.
I think you have to know how to ride a unicycle
I don't know.
for that last spot.
Chris, what about the other representatives that served last time? Are you proposing reappointing either of the other 2?
I've reached out, I don't know that to our discussion earlier about quorums, I don't know if, we're still looking for
Do we have a name, Paul?
people to fill in. I mean, if you
I
have
think,
someone
I
that
think
is-
Tom O'Shea was on there, right?
Yep. Yep,
Tom O'Shea and Dana Ricard were the other 2.
correct, yeah.
Okay. So what would you like to do? Do you want to put their names up on those 2?
Second
So
for
why don't,
table.
hold on. We still have to do the other appointments. So why don't we take the motion to table, why don't we vote on the motion to table,
Well, then we can't talk about it.
right? But if it doesn't pass, then we can start this again. So let's,
He can withdraw his motion.
Well, I didn't make the motion. You did.
I didn't make, oh.
You made a motion to table.
I'll withdraw, you
Okay.
seconded it, sorry.
Yeah, I
all right,
seconded
motion,
it.
all right, so we're withdrawing our motion to table. I wasn't sure if we should really discuss that or not, but, so, why don't, I will appoint Kristen Guida, so she's appointed. We have to replace Bill Dietzig then, if we're gonna do that, so why don't we put Josh up for Bill Dietzig as the representative from the council?
Okay.
We should double check Kristen's appointment. Is she a council member appointment, or is she a?
No, I think, again, it's
ACT State, because the previous person was a technical college.
college community representative.
So I say we tentatively, let's appoint her, and let's get the town attorney to look at it, Chris, and make sure that, I'm not sure if having 2 council members on there, works. So let's double check, okay?
There's more than that.
Yeah.
So just in disclosure, Dave is on that as well. Dave
Okay,
is
so
on
we
the
might need to look
CPA.
at it then. Yeah.
See, it meets once a year,
Yeah.
right? If we're lucky.
So Josh is gonna be the council representative. So we're gonna have to check the membership of the other ones since we have some newly elected people. So let's take that as an action item, and we're gonna look for a motion to table the others.
Leap day comes more.
Yeah.
Seed meeting.
All right, so do you want to table it now?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table.
The other ones.
The remaining 2.
Okay,
I'll second the
all right.
motion to table.
Motion is second to table for the remainder ones. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously to table the remaining. We We appointed 2 people so far, but we got to check. We got to check the rules on it, Alex.
Yeah, I've got a note to contact the town attorney.
Otherwise, we're going to have 3 town council members. 2 of them are going to be residents, representatives. I'm not sure if that's really kosher or not, but let's look. Okay, item 4, we already did earlier on, right? Those were the constables. Item 5, now we're looking for the actual appointments of the Apple Harvest staff committees. And Chris, you want to give the language on it?
Yes, I'd like to recommend David Norse or his designee from the engineering department, and DJ Voisin or his designee from the recreation department to serve as voting members of the Apple Harvest.
Second.
Motion from Chris and a second from Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Oh, sorry. Any opposed? All right. Sorry, that was my appointment, so they're appointed. Great. Yeah, next to last item. Item 6, this is newly added, Conservation Commission alternate appointment.
I'd like to submit the name of Chris Carnwright of 20 Woodbury Hill Drive to serve as the alternate on the Conservation Committee.
Do we know whose appointment that is?
It was.
No, do we know who's the authority? I'm just looking quickly. Conservation alternate? I'm looking it up.
It was Katie
it's
Wade.
my appointment. So can you repeat the name and I'll?
Sure.
Conservation Commission
Chris
is,
Carnwright.
Chris Conright?
Carnwright.
Alex, Conservation Commission is the town manager's appointment?
Conservation Commission alternates, town manager appointment.
Perfect.
I've been given the name of Christopher.
Christopher.
Conright.
Carnwright, C-A-R.
Carnwright, he is
C-A-R.
so hereby appointed.
Thank you. All right. Any other discussions tonight?
Can we talk more about Tony's sewer stuff?
We're looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
9:59. Thanks, Jim.
Jim, let's do another